Our boy wakes up in a grimy alley, totally confused and accompanied by a tiny, barking wolf. His head is absolutely pounding and he is trying to remember how he got here from his office. This last thing he recalls is finishing a project at his desk with a familiar wolf on his screen. Then came the classic Isekai special, a massive jolt of blue lightning, no questions asked. He recognizes the little creature as his own design but is deeply concerned about its dog-like barking. Before he can debug this situation, a huge explosion rocks the street just a few feet away. His little creation just phases through a solid wall to escape, which is definitely not in the specs. Peeking around the corner, our guy tries to figure out what fresh hell he's been dropped into. He sees some thugs bullying a man over a tiny cat-like beast with the big boss looking unimpressed. This victim is devastated, lamenting that his dream of joining the mythical beast society is over. But the armored leader just scoffs, saying a revered organization like that would never accept a loser. Both the guy and his little companion are frozen in pure, unadulterated terror. A massive punch shatters the ground nearby, but our boy's wolf dodges the attack effortlessly. One of the henchmen, a shirtless guy with a mohawk, offers to handle the victim personally. This guy, Kaz, launches a vicious kick aimed right at the defenseless man on the ground. But our MC steps in at the last second, catching the kick with one hand like it is nothing. He is just as surprised as everyone else, wondering where all this sudden strength came from. After checking on the victim, he tells him to just ignore these idiots and get out of there. Kaz is absolutely livid, promising our boy will regret making a fool out of him. And the boss just smirks, knowing his boy Kaz is now seriously, entertainingly pissed off. Completely unhinged, Kaz screams for his mythical beast to come out and tear our guy apart. And out comes his partner, a massive, fiery bronze kangaroo ready to throw down. He fuses with the beast, gaining giant boxing gloves and a tail, a truly inspired look. Our boy is having a perfectly normal reaction, wondering if everyone in this world is a monster. This victim grabs our guy, screaming that they need to run because a bronze-level beast is unbeatable. As they flee, the victim explains Beast Master Fusion, while our little wolf looks utterly baffled. He also explains the 6 power levels, admitting that both of their beasts are total rookies. This gratitude is just overwhelming as the victim complains our boy is too slow at running away. Our boy just wants to get away, but the victim is still monologuing about the society's corruption. That is their cue to shut up because Kez just launched himself into the air for a dive bomb. He lands with a massive explosion, blowing up the street right behind our fleeing protagonist. Turning back in shock, our guy gets some top-tier advice from the victim. This place is dangerous. Kaz just smirks about bystanders being trash, but our boy fires back that the society should be saving lives. This victim chimes in, agreeing that anyone who treats life so cheaply is just pure garbage. This just makes Kaz laugh maniacally, declaring that strength is everything and the strong decide what is right. He then lunges forward to finish the job, telling the victim to be a good little worm and die. And once again, our boy steps in, effortlessly blocking another one of Kaz's supposedly killer blows. The sheer force of the block sends Kaz flying backward into a fiery explosion. Whoops. Glowing with blue energy, our MC is fuming, but then he realizes something. He heard the wolf's thoughts. Indeed, his little creation is talking in his head, complaining that the name Wolf is kinda clunky. He decides to name his little partner Haku, vowing to take down the bad guys together. Haku just barks. Kaz is totally floored as our boy erupts in a golden aura, wondering if he just awakened as a beast master. And in a flash, he is decked out in epic fantasy armor, realizing he is actually fused with Haku. He feels a deep power unlocking, suddenly questioning if Haku is a legendary infinite warg. Blue energy crackles in his hand as he learns that perfect sync with a beast unlocks its true potential. But Kaz just scoffs that even with a fusion, our boy is still trash and tells him to die quietly. Our guy just casually puts a hand on his face, having already pinpointed his weak point. Then with a single devastating punch, he sends the kangaroo man flying right into the ground. After the beatdown, he helps the victim up and they finally introduce themselves. He is Hyuga and the other is Aikido. Meanwhile, Kaz is embedded in a wall, absolutely fuming that a supposed rookie beast is this powerful. He gets back up, screaming with rage and vowing to crush them for real this time. 0 lessons learned. Hyuga just gives him a stone-cold look, completely unimpressed by the ongoing temper tantrum. Then he unleashes a brutal combo, hammering Kaz with a flurry of blue-streaked punches. Standing over the wreckage, Hyuga schools him on how fusion means nothing without a real connection to your beast. Kaz just spits back that beasts are just weapons and do not need feelings. A real charmer, this one. At that exact moment, his kangaroo beast just says, "I am out," and defuses, leaving him totally powerless. Hyuga explains the obvious. The beast bailaid because it knew it was just being used as a tool. This revelation seems to be breaking what is left of Kaz's tiny, rage-filled brain. Just as things calm down, Aikido spots someone approaching them with a question for the two of them. And it is the big boss, looking way too smug and asking if they are interested in joining the society. And we cut to the mythical beast society headquarters, looking suspiciously serene and holy. Turns out the boss, Mazafi, is some big shot addressing a massive crowd of hopefuls. Some of the candidates are absolutely losing their minds, thrilled that a Master Mazafi invited them. Aikido, however, seems a bit out of the loop and asks Hyuga for a rundown on this whole society thing. So Hyuga gives a classic history lesson. This continent has 4 major factions, 3 of which were always at war. For millennia, it was just non-stop chaos until one legendary beast master finally stepped up to the plate. This hero, Ryanheim, and his red blood lion basically soloed the other factions and founded the society. His whole philosophy was that the strong should protect the weak, a noble goal the society supposedly still follows. Naturally, Akito's dream is to be a shining hero just like the founder, bless his naive heart. Hyuga seems to be mulling it over, thinking the whole deal does not sound too bad after all. Suddenly, the lights flare up and it is time for the main event. Masafi takes the stage, telling all these hopefuls that a kind heart is great, but it will not get them in. You also need overwhelming power because that is what really matters in this world, obviously. This crowd goes wild as some kind of fiery beast or weapon is showcased on stage. He then drops the bomb. They are only taking 9 people total and the exam will be a series of brutal challenges. There's only one major rule for this free-for-all. Murder is prohibited, which is a surprisingly low bar. With that incredibly brief orientation out of the way, he just yells for the exam to begin. And it is an absolute stampede as everyone rushes off to prove their worth in this glorified battle royale. Akito is all fired up and ready to go, telling Hyuga it is time to move out. But some dude immediately summons a fiery goblin beast, deciding to get a head start on the violence. That goblin dude immediately bails, using a water route to get past the flaming bridge. But as he is gloating, something small and shiny splashes down right in front of him. And suddenly he is just standing on the water looking smug as he orders his beast forward. Everyone else is screaming cheater until they spot what is actually under his feet. Turns out he is riding a giant winged fish, already declaring himself one of the winners. His beast then launches straight into the air, giving him a personal flight across the chasm. That is when a massive crocodile monster erupts from the water, ready for an afternoon snack. It chomps down hard on his ride, sending the poor goblin soaring through the air like a ragdoll. Before he can make a spectacular splat, a woman with a whip swings in and snags him mid-flight. He gets instantly hogtied, his grand escape plan lasting a grand total of 10 seconds. This whip wielder stands over him, coolly informing him that he is officially disqualified. She is apparently an exam official, and her warning not to be stupid comes with a death threat, very motivating. Akito is completely losing his mind over how cool that was, while Hyuga looks way more concerned. Hyuga then points out the giant, hungry crocodile still lurking in the water below. A new girl with light blue hair casually explains that it is just a low-level magical beast. She adds that these things are basically impossible for rookie beast masters to handle. Both our boys are totally confused, wondering who this sudden font of information is. She just smiles and proposes they team up, insisting the exam is too hard to do alone. Her reasoning is solid. The bridge is an energy drain and the water is a death trap. But Hyuga is immediately suspicious, asking why she'd choose to team up with them specifically. This blue-haired girl chews her finger, a sudden plan clearly forming in her head. Standing at the edge of the fiery chasm, she lays out the grim reality of their situation. Her pitch is to combine their beast skills, though Hyuga is already correcting her on the whole dog versus wolf thing. Introducing herself as Flora, she just asks to be the leader, and Akito agrees with zero hesitation, a born follower. With commands secured, Flora points out their goal, a floating landmass ominously named Sun Island. Elsewhere, another group of candidates is getting jumped, screaming that they already qualified for the society. Their attackers, a big armored dude and a spiky-haired punk, clearly do not care about the rules. This victims demand to know what the thugs want, looking hopelessly outmatched. This red-haired psycho just grins, saying he wants to test out his iron-red monkey fusion on them. He immediately starts powering up, fusing with a red monkey that crackles with electrical energy. This fusion creates a massive ball of raw power, practically vibrating with destructive intent. Now fully charged, the guy is a cackling maniac, practically begging for them to try something stupid. One of the victims tries to rally his terrified friends, yelling that they have to fight back together. Against all common sense, the poor saps actually prepare to charge the lightning-wielding lunatic. And he just zaps the entire group in a single, brutal flash, a total one-sided beatdown. His armored buddy, completely bored, tells the guy Rado to wrap this up in 5 seconds flat. Rado scoffs that 5 seconds is way too generous, complaining that all the other candidates are total weaklings. His partner agrees, admitting he is only interested in one person here, that weird guy from before. One of the downed candidates spits that the examiners will never let them get away with this ambush. Rado just smirks back, reminding him the only rule is no murder, which leaves a whole lot of room for creative interpretation. Rato's armored partner says his beast senses our crew approaching, asking if they should avenge Kaz. But then he just calls Kaz trash, getting way too excited that his opponents might actually be entertaining. Over on Sun Island, Hyuga's team arrives to find the place littered with already defeated candidates. Our boys and their new leader, Flora, land on the scene to survey the absolute mess. Hyuga and Akito share a grim look, realizing this exam is even more of a bloodbath than advertised. Flora just casually wonders aloud who could have possibly taken out this many people at once. A voice calls out that they have finally made it, revealing the 2 thugs waiting by a giant tree. It is Rado and his armored buddy, looking incredibly smug about the trail of bodies they have left. Flora immediately calls them out, asking why they'd bother ambushing people when they are obviously strong enough to pass. This big guy just grins that he only cares about fighting, and since Hyuga beat Kaz, he is a worthy target. With that, he summons his gold lion and immediately starts the fusion process, no time for pleasantries. Now fully fused, he is just a giant, grinning ball of purple energy, practically begging for a fight. He launches himself forward, screaming for them to give him a good time, a totally normal greeting. Not about to be outdone, Hyuga tells Haku it is their turn to fuse and get in on the action. This lion man throws a massive punch, his claws crackling with some seriously nasty purple energy. And Hyuga, in his own fusion armor, blocks it head-on, the impact sending out shockwaves. Seeing this, Flora immediately tells Akito that they need to jump in and help their new friend. But Rado cuts them off, creating a rock pillar to stand on and telling them to stay out of his bro's fight. This lion man asks if Hyuga is here for revenge for that kangaroo bastard while they trade blows. Hyuga just calls the idea of revenge stupid before getting blasted backward by a powerful strike. This lion man starts a lecture mid-fight, demanding to know what Hyuga thinks beasts even are. Hyuga is way too busy getting his face rearranged to answer any philosophical questions, and we get a flashback to this guy's tragic origin story, getting bullied in an alley. This poor dude is on the ground, mourning the loss of his lunch, the ultimate tragedy. Just then, a tiny cat-like beast lunges for his food and he is not about to share. This little guy tackles him in a cartoonish dust-up, clearly fighting for that rice. After the scuffle, he sees the beast has transformed, resigning himself to being eaten over starving. But instead of attacking, the little creature just pushes his lunch back to him. He immediately assumes the beast sees his hidden potential while it just barks, a real meeting of the minds. So they share the meal, a beautiful friendship forged over a single box of rice. He then bows to his new partner, vowing to unlock its power or become its next meal. Back in the present, his whole philosophy is that beasts are weapons you level up through constant fighting. Meanwhile, Hyuga is just trying to block a storm of purple energy strikes. This lion man grabs him, ranting that naive dreamers who treat beasts like pets do not belong here. With Hyuga in his grasp, he declares the fight is officially over. And he slams our boy into the ground with a massive, earth-shattering impact. Now defused, the guy stands over the crater, calling the whole thing a boring fight. But then he stops, sensing something is definitely not right with his victory. Hyuga is already getting back up, forcing the guy to admit he is tougher than expected. Not only is Hyuga fine, but Haku is glowing, having just leveled up to bronze mid-beatdown. This lion man is absolutely thrilled, gloating that combat is the best way to level up and demanding a round 2. But Hyuga, with blood streaming from his eye, just calmly says he is going to have to disagree. He explains that during the last attack he felt the gold lion's true feelings, which is a new one. Our boy then drops the bombshell that the beast is full of affection and is worried about its master's well-being. While petting Haku, Hyuga continues his mid-fight therapy session, saying the lion is at its absolute limit. This whole lecture is about how the guy's been pushing his beast way too hard just to turn it into a weapon. Apparently, the poor lion is exhausted and just wants them both to take a nap, but its master is totally oblivious. Completely enraged, the guy screams that this is a world of survival of the fittest, no time for feelings. He powers up again with dark energy, vowing to make sure Hyuga's mouth never opens again. Despite his bravado, he is shocked that Hyuga can track his movements, realizing he has got no strength left. Hyuga just effortlessly dodges and lands a devastating kick right to the dude's face, and the impact creates a massive screen-shaking explosion, so much for round 2. Down for the count, the guy is just baffled, asking how Hyuga found his weak point. Hyuga's victory speech is that the emotional gap between man and beast created a fatal flaw. Lying there, the guy finally gets it, realizing this is how Kaz lost and admitting Hyuga's talent is legit. We get a flashback to his little lion cub, dutifully holding his lunchbox for him. His big, tough lion is now crying, as its master realizes it just wanted to be friends this whole time. After this therapy session, he finally understands that love is the true path to power, and Hyuga introduces himself. Now properly introduced, Kishimoto Tatsuya accepts his loss and vows to win their next fight. But just as they are wrapping up their wholesome moment, a massive explosion erupts nearby, so much for peace. An exam official on a boat screams that they are under attack, telling all the candidates to evacuate immediately. This other candidates are in full panic mode, questioning who is insane enough to attack the mythical beast society. Elsewhere, a new group with a white-haired girl is also booking it, looking totally caught off guard. Their escape is cut short by a knight on a unicorn beast, standing over a field of already defeated people. With a glowing red eye, the knight declares he cannot let valuable hostages like them get away. Putting it together, the girl accuses him of capturing candidates just to blackmail the society. He basically confirms it, monologuing that losing this many recruits will absolutely tank their reputation. But he is feeling generous, offering them a single chance to win their freedom by defeating him in combat. This trio immediately accepts the challenge, all three starting to fuse with their respective beasts at once. Now fully powered up, the three of them stand ready to take on the mysterious knight. Their opponent just taunts them from his mount, basically daring them to show him what they have got. One of the guys, now with cat ears, leaps in first with a flying claw attack, brave but probably dumb. And yeah, the knight just swats him aside with his lance like he is a fly, calling him all talk. This red-armored guy, seeing his buddy get wrecked, yells that he is up next, ready to jump into the fray. Before he can move, the white-haired girl draws a bow made of pure energy, preparing her own attack. She unleashes a whole volley of feather arrows, lighting up the entire area with projectiles. This knight does not even flinch, just casually creating a dark energy shield that blocks every single arrow. His dark shield then morphs into a massive, creepy tendril covered in glowing red eyes, not a good sign. A close-up shows his lance is now wrapped in that same horrifying, multi-eyed dark energy. That tendril lance whips out and shatters her bow in a single hit, leaving her completely defenseless. This knight grabs the girl, moving way too fast for her to react. He gloats about catching the Snow Hawk girl, clearly enjoying the whole hostage situation. But a fiery explosion erupts as a voice declares this is the end for him, and it is Hyuga crashing the party with a righteous yell. Our boy swoops in, snatching the girl right out of the knight's grasp. She looks up, totally stunned to see Hyuga as her unexpected rescuer. Landing safely, he tells Akito to handle the other guy while he takes care of business. This knight just calmly assesses Hyuga, noting his battle sense is better than his power level. With a smirk, Hyuga announces he has already figured out the guy's weakness. This knight laughs, daring him to try and promising to let them go if he lands a scratch, a classic villain blunder. Hyuga immediately accepts, winding up a punch swirling with Haku's blue energy. A massive spectral wolf head materializes behind him, ready to add some bite to his bark. He lands the punch square on the knight's helmet, who seems genuinely impressed by the power. But Hyuga just grins, letting him know the first hit was only the beginning. In a wild move, he grabs the unicorn's horn and prepares to judo flip the entire beast. And he actually does it, slamming the horse and rider into the ground with a massive thud. This red-armored guy cannot believe it, holding the knight's now discarded lance in shock. Hyuga reveals the weakness. The fusion only works while the knight is on his unicorn. When asked how he knew, Hyuga explains he just sensed the beast's feelings, his new party trick. This red-armored guy is now a total fan, laughing about Hyuga's ever-growing list of hidden talents. This now unhorsed knight immediately pivots to a recruitment pitch, telling Hyuga his talent is wasted on the society. Standing over the downed unicorn, Hyuga flatly rejects the offer, calling his methods sickening, but the knight just smiles. Our boy is completely confused by the guy's confidence, asking what he means. With a smug look, the knight asks if he really thought breaking the fusion was enough to win the fight. And just like that, the unicorn rears up, glowing with a terrifying dark aura, ready for round 2. Hyuga is totally blindsided, having no idea the beast could just get back up on its own. Glowing with red energy, the knight lunges forward, telling Hyuga to get some sleep as he throws a punch. This attack connects in a massive, fiery explosion that seems to knock our hero clean out. Slowly opening his eyes, Hyuga hears a voice calling his name, trying to wake him up. His first thought upon regaining consciousness is naturally steamed buns, a man with his priorities straight. Turns out he is being held by the Snow Hawk girl and he is just screaming time to eat, right in her face. After getting called an idiot, he collapses to the ground, complaining that he is starving after all that fighting. This whole crew suddenly finds themselves in a massive, barred cell with no clue where they are. One of the other guys explains they are in an underground prison beneath Sun Island, which is a terrible new development. Apparently, the society built this place to contain all the wild magical beasts that used to run rampant here. This red-armored dude tries to brute force the bars, but they do not even budge an inch. This girl points out the prison is made for high-level beasts, making their power useless, but she thinks there might be one way out. Hyuga looks across the way to a wall of smaller cages, each holding a different animal. And yup, another guy confirms those are their mythical beasts, all locked up and separated from them. They figure the beasts must be sedated, and even worse, the cages are way too far away to even attempt a fusion. This red-armored guy immediately asks if Hyuga has a 100% fusion rate, while the girl looks totally clueless. She explains it is a legendary ability, letting him fuse even if Haku is sedated and miles away. That cat-tiered dude from before chimes in, adding that it also means ridiculously fast growth and he is super jealous. So the red-armored guy just tells him to get over the embarrassment and use his new cheat code to break them out. With everyone's hopes on his shoulders, Hyuga grabs the bars and starts calling for Haku, glowing with power. He lets out a massive roar, forcing the fusion to happen despite the distance and the drugs. And it works, the bars exploding outward as a fully fused Hyuga declares he is busting everyone out. Of course, now every other random prisoner in the block is screaming for him to get them out too. Yeah, the whole help us chorus is getting pretty loud, a real prison break party in the making. Being the good guy he is, Hyuga just unleashes a massive energy wave, shattering all the other cell doors. He then tells the newly freed mob to find their beasts so they can all escape this mess together. This whole group makes a break for it, finding an exit and booking it out of the underground prison. But their escape is cut short as they run into a blinding light at the end of the tunnel. And standing there is a new snake-themed villain who seems pretty impressed Hyuga managed a jailbreak. One of the escapees, clutching his pug for dear life, tries to rally the troops, saying they can totally take this guy. This snake man just scoffs, telling his beast to teach these nobodies a lesson as they all charge in like lemmings. In a single whip-like strike, his snake takes out the entire front line of cannon fodder, so much for teamwork. Turns out the Unicorn Knight is also here, finally realizing Hyuga's 100% fusion rate is how he broke out. He then taunts our boy, asking if he really thinks he can save this whole crowd all by himself. Hyuga just powers up, declaring that if he takes the knight down, saving everyone is definitely possible. This snake man is actually impressed, challenging Hyuga to show him what he is really made of. He immediately orders his giant snake to strangle them all, so much for a friendly introduction. A massive tail swipe sends the whole crew scrambling for their lives as the ground cracks beneath them. While the red-armored guy panics about being useless, the Snow Hawk girl says she's got an idea. She starts shouting commands like a drill sergeant, telling Hyuga exactly when to duck and strike, and it totally works as Hyuga dodges a lunge and lands a clean energy slash on the snake's head. That hit sends the massive beast reeling back in pain, clearly not used to taking damage. Hyuga is completely floored, wondering how this girl, Flora, can perfectly predict every single attack. Wasting no time, Flora calls out the next move in the combo, a jump kick to the face. Our boy follows her lead without question, launching himself into the air for another direct hit. After the kick lands with a boom, she just tells him it is intuition and to keep following her lead. This snake man is having the time of his life, realizing he has hit a jackpot of talented rookies, but he is not worried in the slightest, smugly asking if they thought that was his beast's full power. Right on cue, the snake starts glowing with a seriously creepy dark energy, getting a power-up. This new aura is so intense it practically pins them to the ground with pure pressure alone. Hyuga is sweating bullets, realizing this is the beast's raw power without even fusing, and he is fresh out of ideas. This villain just decides to pause the fight, saying he needs to treat his snake's wounds first. He then tells them to just wait there quietly like good little hostages until the society shows up. With a final, menacing glare, he warns them not to cause any more trouble while he is gone, or he will make them regret being born, leaving our heroes to face down his chilling threat. With the Snake Man gone, our heroes are left standing in a hallway with a whole lot of nothing to do. One of the randoms has a full-blown existential crisis, realizing the villain did not even think he was worth fighting. Another dude, carrying his entire lion, points out that since the bad guys are gone, now's their chance to book it. Just then, a tiny cat beast named Mimi pipes up, offering to lead them all to the exit, our new GPS apparently. Following their feline guide, the whole group makes a break for it down the stone corridors. But the exit turns out to be the bottom of a ridiculously massive, sheer cliff face, so less of an exit, more of a wall. Someone's hands desperately scrabble for a grip, trying to haul themselves up the impossible incline. And it is Hyuga with Haku on his head, complaining about the climb like he did not just break out of a super prison. This trenchcoat guy smugly notes he is finally better than Hyuga at something, while Flora points out her wings make it easy. Reaching the top, they see a floating island, finally understanding why the villain was so confident they would not escape. Flora peers down at the rickety bridge connecting them to the island, which looks like a safety hazard waiting to happen. She lays out their options: try to climb and deal with water beasts, or go back to the hall full of villains. Great choices. That trenchcoat guy chimes in, reminding everyone they have zero chance against the Unicorn Knight or the Snake Man. Another candidate worries their beasts are still sedated, but the guy suggests they might stand a chance if they all work together. Hyuga, however, has a better idea, guessing there is a secret passage and deciding to scout the hall's library for clues. He promises to report back, looking all heroic while the trenchcoat guy swoons. Get a room, you two. Flora, the only one with a working brain cell, worries that Hyuga has no idea what he is walking into. Back in the main hall, the snake beast is just chilling over the bodies of a bunch of other defeated candidates. Meanwhile, Hyuga crawls through a hidden vent, pleased with his discovery until he overhears a woman's voice. It is the Unicorn Knight and a female subordinate, confirming this whole attack is just a warning to the society. This Unicorn Knight's partner dismisses this year's applicants, calling them all a bunch of weaklings. So he suggests she go test her skills on them since they are just sitting ducks anyway. At that moment, a head pops out of a vent and it is Hyuga crashing their evil monologue. Our boy gives a friendly wave, totally misreading the room while she recognizes the little boy. Holding Haku, he stands before the woman, asking if he ever said he was just passing through. This new whip-wielding villainess just laughs, saying he is not getting out and she knows his every move. Hyuga's completely baffled, wondering how she is reading his mind and why she seems so familiar. With a smug grin, she offers to show him her trick, holding up a little green thing. She pulls up a live feed of his friends, revealing her partner is a spy bug, a total privacy invasion. And here is the culprit, a shiny green grub with lens flare eyes, their own personal CCTV system. Our hero realizes escaping is impossible with that kind of surveillance, while Haku remains unimpressed as always. For making it this far, she offers him a reward in the form of a freshly conjured fireball. Her deal is simple: survive her attacks until the flame dies and she will reveal the exit. Hyuga asks what is stopping them from just running away, which is a very valid question. This Unicorn Knight just scoffs, saying if they can actually escape, it is a testament to their skill. She just smirks confidently, basically daring him to even try to get past her defenses. Thinking they're too arrogant to be lying about the deal, Hyuga decides to take the bait. He powers up into his red-caped fused form, ready to accept this very sketchy challenge. Charging in with swirling blue energy, he goes on the offensive, impressing her with his new look. And he zips around in a blur of motion as she tries to tag him with her whip. The fight is on. This whip villainess declares the fight's not over, lashing out with a swirling green energy attack. She mocks Hyuga for thinking he could just run out the clock as he dodges her relentless assault. Leaping into the air, she unleashes a full-power wind blade attack that erupts from the ground. Our boy gets thrown back, weaving through collapsing pillars and admitting she is definitely strong. From the sidelines, the Snake Man tells her not to wreck the place, but she just snaps at him to shut up. Hyuga desperately scrambles for a way to dodge her attacks, which seem to be coming from everywhere. Suddenly, he gets an idea, slamming his hands down on the stone floor with a massive crack. Blue energy erupts from his palms as he channels his power directly into the ground itself. With a massive roar, he rips an entire section of the floor up to use as a makeshift shield. She is actually impressed by his quick thinking, but smugly adds that she has more than just wind blades. Her whip just slices right through his rock shield, shattering it into a dozen pieces. But amidst the falling debris, Hyuga spots the perfect opening to finally strike back. This tip of her whip flashes right past his eye in a split-second feint, and just like that, the rest of it coils around his entire body, trapping him instantly. She reminds him her little spy bug sees his every move, leaving him zero chance to surprise her. Planting a boot on his head, she gloats that he is an open book while he struggles to get free. This candle's still burning, so she tells him the game is not over and the next round will not be so fun. Even tied up like a burrito, Hyuga refuses to admit defeat, calling out for Haku. A fiery aura starts to burn around his body, even as she holds him like a dog on a leash. And Haku launches into the air, blazing with power and ready to turn this fight around, a true pocket rocket. Haku, in full Flaming Fox mode, bites down on the whip, stopping her attack cold. Still trapped, Hyuga yells that this is his final move and for her to get ready. In a flash, he defuses, slipping out of the whip's grasp and appearing right behind her, a classic bait and switch. Her snake-themed partner absolutely loses it, laughing at her for getting played by a rookie. Even the Unicorn Knight is impressed, noting how our boy used the diffusion as a clever escape tactic. Just then the candle flame finally flickers out and her helmet tumbles to the floor. Game over. True to her word, she tells him the exit's location and to go inform the others. Hyuga collapses, holding a very tired Haku, and suddenly recognizes her as one of the exam proctors. This snake man then taunts him, asking why he is not trying to free his friends if he is so heroic. Our boy realizes the guy has a point. If they decide not to let them go, there is nothing anyone can do. This snake man just keeps laughing, pointing out that her cover is totally blown now. Meanwhile, that little spy bug is still projecting a live feed of all the other candidates waiting outside. Back with the group, Flora rallies everyone, saying they cannot abandon Hyuga and need to rescue him. This red-armored guy agrees, powering up and declaring he will not let Hyuga steal all the spotlight. With a massive battle cry, the entire mob of ex-prisoners charges the door to save their hero. This whip villainess just smirks, commenting on how surprisingly popular Hyuga is. At that moment, the Unicorn Knight declares their objective is met and tells her to open the doors. Flora and the crew burst in, only to find Hyuga sitting peacefully between the two villains. Talk about awkward. This Unicorn Knight calmly reaches up and starts to remove his helmet. Revealing his face, he announces he is a society executive and that everyone has officially passed the test. Flora and the rescue squad just stare, completely baffled by the total lack of a hostage situation. A new guy with a massive sword steps forward, announcing he is here to explain everything. This other candidates are losing their minds, asking if he is an examiner and what this whole sham was about. He explains the society needs loyal partners, not just powerful meatheads, to protect the public. Slamming his sword down, he reveals the secret passage was a trick. Anyone who took it was automatically out. But since they all came back for Hyuga, they proved their character and are officially welcomed into the society. Just as everyone starts to relax, the entire room begins to shake violently, and Flora's had enough of this. A giant pit opens up in the floor, revealing a dark, ominous staircase leading straight down. This villains, now instructors, announce a special training program. You cannot leave until you are approved. They give the group 5 minutes to head down the stairs or be disqualified on the spot, so no pressure. Hyuga and his friends hesitate, realizing that if they fail this training, they are trapped here forever. Flora calls Hyuga out, saying she is going to see what this is all about, and marches forward. Our main trio stands at the edge of the abyss, peering down into the darkness below. As they descend, the lead instructor promises a special surprise for the first group to arrive. He leads them into a grand hall, listing off the library and healing center like it is a luxury hotel. Hyuga and the trenchcoat guy walk down a stone path, looking around with suspicion. Our boy finally asks what this place is actually for, hoping for a straight answer for once. This instructor just smirks, telling them they are welcome to try and find out for themselves. Flora, never one to back down, immediately accepts his vague and threatening challenge, and right on cue, a volley of arrows shoots out from a hidden wall trap. Welcome to orientation. This arrows fly straight for the group, a lovely welcome to the new training program. Flora does not even flinch as the projectiles zip right past her and her bird beast. She just scoffs at the pathetic trick, even as one of the arrows grazes her shoulder. Another one stops just inches from her face, held back by some unseen force. Hyuga screams her name, thinking she is about to get absolutely skewered, but then the arrows just explode in a massive fireball, a classic misdirection. In his fused form, he is already there, shielding her from the blast and asking if she is okay. Their trenchcoat-wearing friend rushes over, relieved to see them both unharmed. Hyuga, however, is absolutely furious, his fists glowing with red energy. Our boy actually asks the instructor for permission to punch him, who just calmly tells him to chill. Meanwhile, Flora looks on, thanking Hyuga for the heroic save. Romance subplot initiated. This instructor lays out the rules. This corridor has dozens of paths and traps, and it is the only way forward. He also cheerfully mentions the healing center can revive them as long as they do not stay dead for too long. Holding Haku, Hyuga deadpans that this new information is somehow even more terrifying. And right on cue, a giant green slime monster oozes out of the floor to greet them. Their instructor just stands there, sword ready, inviting the giant blob of death to come at him. With a rock-on gesture, he tells the group he is here to test their true potential. Before anyone can react, slimy green tendrils shoot out and grab Hyuga by the legs. This slime instantly ensnares him, Haku and Flora in its gooey grasp. Trapped tight, Hyuga calls out to Haku, yelling for them to fuse and break free. Hyuga's big fusion plan hits a major snag. The slime is somehow blocking him from Haku, who looks totally over it. This instructor helpfully explains this slime monster blocks communication and also measures their partner compatibility. He tells the slime to announce the results, and it seems to complain about its terrible work-life balance. This slime gives Hyuga an 83% compatibility score, basically telling him he and his cat just need to talk more. Then it turns its attention to the other two, holding them up like a pair of slimy, wriggling burritos. And the slime absolutely loses its mind, revealing the other two both have a perfect 100% compatibility score. Hyuga and Flora are just stunned, completely blindsided by the news. Apparently, a perfect score is a once-in-a-century event, and now they have got two of them right here. This instructor is hyped, saying with some training they could reach the level of the legendary Crimson Lion King. But Hyuga's confused, pointing out his perfect score unlocked powers while the trenchcoat guys has not done anything. So the instructor asks the other guy about his special powers and he just shrugs, having absolutely no idea. He gets a massive headache, realizing the guy's talent is so natural he is clueless, and then declares he is their new mentor. With that, he dismisses them for the night, promising demonic training at 8 am sharp and for some reason no breakfast. Hyuga immediately crashes onto a ridiculously fancy bed, a small perk of this death trap. Lying there, he is still hung up on the weirdest part of the threat, no breakfast. He just smiles, wondering what kind of hellish training they are in for tomorrow. This next morning starts with a giant metal wall slamming down because of course it does. In a massive underground arena, the instructor begins his lecture on what phantom beasts actually are. He explains they are mystical creatures that can copy any power they see and use it to attack. Then he breaks down their power levels, from common all the way to god tier, and how they can evolve with their partners. This instructor kicks off his lecture by explaining the blood pact is a one-and-done deal for life. And to evolve your beast, you need food and training, as demonstrated by this buff bear in a speedo. He admits training takes forever, but luckily for them, he has got a special shortcut planned. With a dramatic pose, he summons his own partner, the legendary black box monster, which turns out to be a literal cartoon box with arms, and he tells it to show the kids some passion. This sentient piece of furniture immediately charges right at Hyuga and his friends. It slams down over them, and the instructor wonders who is gonna break out first. What a great mentor. Hyuga wakes up in total darkness, completely disoriented and wondering where the hell he is. Alone in a cave, he spots a faint light in the distance and starts heading towards it. This light leads him to a massive, ornate door that just screams final boss room. As the heavy stone doors creak open, a warm light spills out from within. He steps through and finds himself staring at himself with a tiny Haku by his side. Our boy is completely stunned, trying to figure out if he is looking at a mirror or a clone. Then he notices Haku looks incredibly skinny and weak, asking why he is in such bad shape. Out of nowhere, a basket full of bread and meat just appears right in front of the little guy. Haku's eyes turn into stars as he floats towards the food like it is the Holy Grail. And Hyuga finally gets it. His partner has been fighting on an empty stomach this whole time. While Haku absolutely demolishes the feast, our boy just watches with a guilty conscience. Suddenly, as Haku eats, Hyuga feels a massive surge of power coursing through his body. Haku just keeps chowing down, completely oblivious that his snack break is giving his partner a huge power-up. Haku's eyes turn to stars as a giant magical meatball descends from the heavens. It is a Christmas miracle. In a state of pure bliss, he burrows his face into the glorious food orb, a happy cat at last. Back in the cave, Hyuga feels the ground shake violently, wondering what the heck is going on. Outside, the instructor sips his coffee while his box monster whines about the monsters he let inside. He gives his partner some serious side-eye, asking why it is struggling with a bunch of newbies. This poor box monster is clutching its stomach, clearly going through some serious internal distress. Suddenly, the whole thing blows open, launching our heroes out as the instructor looks on in shock. Hyuga lands and immediately smothers Haku in a tearful hug, promising to never be separated again. Their instructor just watches this soap opera unfold, commenting on their ridiculously dramatic reunion. Then he notices Flora, who is now glowing with power, and wonders why the master evolved instead of the beast. His jaw drops as he realizes she has hit a whole new power tier, calling it completely absurd. Even Haku has transformed into a bigger, more intimidating form, making the instructor question his own training methods. Overwhelmed by all this, he clutches his head, complaining that none of these candidates are remotely normal. He tries to wake up his box monster to get some answers, but the poor thing is completely out of it. But then a single cartoon-gloved fist punches its way out of the box's side. This traumatized box monster grabs its master, demanding to know if he has any idea what it just endured. Meanwhile, Hyuga explains they were training in an illusion space, and he is now full of their tears, which is a weird thing to say. This box monster reveals Flora spent her time siphoning away half of its stored evolution energy. And even worse, Haku ate all its food and then tried to eat its heart, the absolute little demon. This instructor, looking completely done, tells his partner he gets it and asks if it wants to blow off some steam. This instructor announces that since they have powered up, it is time for the next phase, actual combat training. He gives his box monster free rein to attack so long as it does not kill them, basic safety standards. With a hand on the glowing gem of his sword hilt, he prepares to officiate this beatdown. Training officially begins and the box monster is practically vibrating with vengeful energy. It charges forward, screaming that it is going to make them feel its pain, payback for the heart-eating incident. This trio immediately gets ready for a fight, with Hyuga calling for Haku to fuse. All three launch a coordinated attack, unleashing their powers at the same time. But the box monster just leaps into the air, preparing to flatten them with a single body slam. It crashes down with overwhelming force, completely shattering their combined assault. This trenchcoat guy is in disbelief, realizing their 3-on-1 attack did not even leave a scratch. And the box monster smugly informs them it is because their levels are just way too low. It then gives them a full lecture on Phantom Beast rankings, from low tier all the way to God tier. This thing reveals that while it is a low-rank beast, it is packing king-level energy, a walking battery of pain. Unleashing a flurry of attacks, it declares that there is absolutely no way they can win. Hyuga realizes they cannot keep up, yelling for the others to just focus on dodging and learning control. From the sidelines, the instructor is impressed, noting how quickly they are adapting to the pressure. Just then, a purple-haired woman appears, commenting on his confidence and a new reward for training rookies. She makes it clear she is his rival, declaring that this time the prize for the best new recruits is hers. He asks if she has found her own prodigies, admitting he is still short one person for a full team. With a knowing smile, she says she is just waiting for that person to finally show up. This instructor is sweating bullets, saying this mystery person is so unstable they could blow up the entire training ground. But his rival just smirks, revealing the real test is not the traps but the person waiting at the end. And we cut to some dude literally suspended by massive chains, meditating in a stone cell. He is being hand-fed a piece of meat while blindfolded, which is a very specific kind of torture/room service. Suddenly, a flash of purple energy slices through the air with incredible speed. This chains shatter, and a new guy with cat ears and a blindfold declares that attacks are now useless against him. Elsewhere, another trainee is going through some serious strength training, straining with all his might. He has been dragging a ridiculously huge metal ball back and forth 100 times because why not? At the same time, another candidate is practicing archery, absolutely peppering a dartboard with bullseyes. It is a girl with angelic wings and a flaming bow, announcing she is ready for the next stage. We then cut to a long, empty stone corridor, clearly the setting for the next big test. At the entrance, a new team of 3 stands ready, along with their equally smug-looking phantom beasts. This cat-eared guy from the chains is with them, eager to show off the results of his training. He immediately calls for a fusion, green energy swirling around him as he powers up. In a blur of motion, he launches himself forward, aiming a powerful kick at the corridor wall. His kick just triggers a trap, unleashing a volley of sharp arrows from hidden slots. Then the opposite wall fires back, turning the entire hallway into a deadly pincushion. But the guy just gracefully weaves through the arrow storm, dodging every single one with ease. He sticks a perfect landing, arms out for style, while his teammate eats dirt in the background. Turning to his team, he demands they praise him for his flawless run. They look completely unimpressed. This angel-winged girl rallies her team, confident they have the power to clear this entire stage. Her teammate gets a little pep talk from the cat-eared guy after getting a lecture from their leader. She then calls them over, announcing they have reached the entrance to the second level's trial. And their next challenge is a narrow bridge under a ceiling of giant, swinging spike balls. Lovely. This trenchcoat guy immediately panics, asking how in the world they are supposed to cross that death trap. Their leader explains this is a test of pure strength since flying past is not an option. So the cat-eared guy steps up, wreathed in flames, volunteering to be the team's tank. He stands alone on the bridge as a massive spiked ball swings down to absolutely flatten him. But he just catches it with his bare hands, stopping the entire mechanism cold. Smirking, he soaks in the praise from his leader, who seems genuinely impressed by his progress. He tells the other two to go on ahead, promising he can hold back the traps all by himself. Alone on the path, he braces as a whole barrage of spiked balls descends on him at once. This guy is seriously straining, gritting his teeth against the overwhelming force of the trap. A close-up shows his hands are already bruised and bleeding from the sheer effort of it all. Finally, the traps retract, leaving him standing alone in the now clear hallway, totally spent. He lets out a sigh of relief, looking at his battered hands, glad the ordeal is finally over. Rejoining his team at a massive door, they tell him to hurry up so they can move on. Inside a huge chamber, they wonder if the traps are just broken from old age. But their leader is relieved, saying it is a good thing someone has already gone through ahead of them. She points to a broken statue, explaining it is a chest trap and the damage proves another team is close. This rival team's leader gets a look of pure focus, ready for the final challenge, and his angel-wing teammate just casually kicks a trap, setting off a massive explosion. They round a corner to find another team completely wiped out, moaning about the impossible test. One of the defeated guys warns them about an unstoppable monster just up ahead. Their leader just blows right past him, demanding he spit it out before he faints. He grabs the poor guy by the collar, asking what is waiting for them, but gets told to see for himself. Down the long hall, they finally spot their target, a single dude just sitting there in chains. And this monster is a blindfolded, shirtless guy casually waving with a giant chicken leg, peak intimidation. This team leader starts sweating, realizing this is the final boss of their exam. Meanwhile, the purple-haired instructor sips wine, smugly telling her rival his team failed. She then asks him if he has any idea where her prodigy's immense power actually comes from. Stretching dramatically, she explains the legend of 5 god-tier beasts that can become human. But she reveals a twist. There is a secret 6th beast that disappeared thousands of years ago. Turns out 6 years back, a 12-year-old kid with that beast's bloodline wiped out his entire village. Her rival is floored, trying to process that a legendary beast had descendants. A flashback shows the kid's power awakening, driving the villagers into a frenzy against each other. So she came up with a training plan: chain him up and let rookies wear down his berserk energy. This new recruits think it is their test, but they are actually just training dummies for him. Now he is 18 and almost ready to be unleashed, and she could not be more proud of her little weapon. Her rival just looks grim, saying he's got a bad feeling that war is right around the corner. This blindfolded final boss smirks, telling the new team to stop talking and show him what they have got. So the cat-eared guy charges in first, screaming about his pulverizing claw, very original. He unleashes a massive energy slash right at the chained dude's chest, and is completely stunned when it does absolutely nothing, yelling that his muscles are harder than steel. Our boy just smiles, telling him to hit harder because he can totally take it. What a great training dummy. With that failure out of the way, the angel-winged girl steps up, readying an explosive arrow. A whole volley of them rains down on the blindfolded guy, who just stands there unimpressed. He then casually catches the arrows mid-flight, complaining that they are just too slow for him. But she just smirks, revealing that this is where the real fun begins. This arrows then detonate in a massive explosion, engulfing the entire area in flames. She is super proud of herself, boasting that even an instructor would get hurt by her special arrows. Of course, the smoke clears and he is standing there without a single scratch on him. He even gives her a performance review: great accuracy, but the power was a little weak, try again next time. Finally, the team leader steps up, swirling with blue energy, asking what he thinks of his asterisk special moves. He then unloads a 12-hit combo of flaming punches right into the guy's back. His teammate actually gets worried, telling him he might have gone too far with that attack. But the leader admits it felt like punching a steel wall, realizing this guy is on a whole other level. This chained guy falls to his knees, laughing hysterically and thanking them for being so awesome. At that moment, the power-suppressing shackle on his wrist finally cracks and shatters. He looks up, clutching his shoulder, and admits that they are indeed strong, which is probably not good news for them. He smirks, announcing it is time for round 2, and the team is horrified to learn he was holding back. A massive demonic aura erupts behind him, complete with giant flaming eyes. Yep, this is bad. This team leader's expression hardens, realizing the test just became a survival situation. Suddenly, he is trapped in a stone cell, completely baffled as to how he even got there. Looking up, he spots a figure on a distant tower who somehow knows his name: Li Fei. It is the final boss, now glowing with power, mocking him for thinking he could ever win. Then 2 guards start pouring water into the cell as the boss casually asks what they are up to. He explains this is just a simple test. If you cannot pass, you can just die here, no biggie. This cell floods in an instant, and Li Fei is immediately struggling to keep his head above water. Fully submerged, he holds his breath, trying to figure a way out of this very wet death trap. His lungs are starting to burn, and he is quickly running out of time and oxygen. Resigned to his fate, he begins to sink, wondering if his grand adventure ends by drowning in a magic box. But then it clicks: that guy could not have known his name, which means this whole thing is an illusion. With a surge of resolve, he channels his energy into a single, focused punch. His fist smashes through the illusion, shattering the water and breaking the bars of the cage. He collapses back into reality, panting on the ground after breaking free from the mental attack. Exhausted but triumphant, he looks up, realizing he actually managed to pass the test. This final boss is actually clapping, impressed he escaped in just 1 minute, a feat some instructors fail. Catching his breath, the leader immediately asks what happened to his teammates. Turns out they did not fare so well. The cat-eared guy is having a full-on breakdown in the corner. This final boss explains Li Fei tanked the mental attack, so his teammates just got a light dose of trauma. Still absolutely furious, Li Fei winds up for another 12-hit combo, ready for some payback. But the examiner just casually catches the punch with one hand, stopping him dead in his tracks. He smirks, completely expecting the retaliation. This guy is just on another level of smug. Li Fei demands a free punch to let off steam, accusing the examiner of taking the test way too far. This guy just thanks him for the workout, saying it helped burn off his berserk energy so he will not go nuts. With the power-suppressing shackle now broken, he stands there, finally in control of his own power. He then punches the wall behind him, which is apparently a secret button, because of course it is. A hidden staircase is revealed, leading up and out of the chamber with rocks floating ominously. Li Fei is completely stunned, asking if that is seriously the way out of this whole mess. This examiner calls out to someone named Little Fire, telling them it is time to leave. And Little Fire turns out to be an adorable little fox just chilling in the smoke. He scoops up the fox, and Li Fei realizes this dude did all that without even using his beast fusion. Turning back, the examiner calls out to Li Fei, getting his attention one last time. He introduces himself as Falk, saying he owes Li Fei a favor but warns him he only gets one shot to use it. As he walks away, Li Fei just stands there thinking he has met a very, very strange person. Shaking it off, he turns and calls out to his Angel Wing teammate, Luoya. He rushes over to check on her, finding her on the ground with their still traumatized cat-eared friend. Her response to his concern is to immediately stand up and punch him square in the jaw, and he goes flying across the room because apparently she had some pent-up aggression to deal with. Li Fei is completely mortified, peeking over the rubble and wondering how things went so wrong, because Luoya is now holding him upside down by his ankles, clearly not happy with him. She then pile-drives him into the ground with an explosive slam, screaming that they are all gonna die. On the floor, Li Fei groans that his body is about to break apart and he needs a plan fast. His Angel Wing teammate just stands over him, holding him by the leg with a look of pure contempt. But our boy sees his opening, gritting his teeth and deciding now is the time to act. With a quick move, he uses his legs to flip her completely over his head. He grabs her midair, reversing their positions in a surprisingly acrobatic counterattack. Now he is the one holding her upside down, commenting that with her power she should be a pro wrestler. This little victory is short-lived though, as they both go tumbling to the ground. They land in a classic "oops, I fell on you" pose, and he asks if she is okay while she tells him to get off. As Li Fei tries to explain himself, she just clutches her chest, looking incredibly flustered. Her response is another right hook straight to his face because communication is for chumps. And now he is literally embedded in the wall, while she mutters that he totally deserved it. Meanwhile, the cat-eared guy finally snaps out of his stupor, asking why everyone looks so beat up. Luoya just tells him they found the exit and it is time to go, completely ignoring the Li Fei-shaped hole in the wall. Someone takes a step onto a platform, leaving the chaos of the trial chamber behind. This team emerges into a stunningly beautiful hall, with even their little animal companions looking around in awe. Looking up, they see a group of people waiting for them on a balcony above. A smiling man welcomes them, congratulating them on passing and officially joining the Phantom Association. A smiling instructor lays out the rules. They are all D rank and need points to climb the ladder. To get past B rank though, he warns it is not just about points. You need serious power like the 6 S rank legends. Next up is the branch president, Frank, the guy who will be dishing out all their future assignments. And the woman with the blue hair, Mya, is their combat trainer. She has got that "I will break you" smile. This guy in the ridiculous helmet, Saro, introduces himself as the shopkeeper for all their magic item needs. Their guide immediately cuts him off, telling him to save the sales pitch for later, professionalism at its finest. With introductions over, he tells the new team it is time for their first D-rank mission to warm up. So their first mission is at a lake where someone spots the target just under the water, not moving an inch. Hiding behind a tree, one of the guys signals for everyone to attack on his mark. At the signal, the red-caped guy leaps out, shouting for the attack to begin now. His fist connects with the water, sending a massive wave blasting out from the impact. This attack whips the lake into a frenzy, creating a massive vortex of churning water. Their target finally reveals itself. It is a giant superjacked beaver that bolts out of the water and up a tree. Turns out the cat-eared guy was waiting in ambush, grinning that he was ready for this exact moment. This red-caped guy gives chase, yelling at his teammate to catch the thing. Leaping into the air, the cat-eared guy swoops in with a green energy slash, ready to pounce. Except the beaver just sidesteps and our cat-eared friend completely whiffs, face-planting hard into the ground. Realizing he cannot stop, the red-caped guy screams in horror as he barrels right towards his downed teammate. This beautiful teamwork culminates in them smashing faces and accidentally locking lips, a truly strategic maneuver. And the result is pure art. The red-caped guy is literally throwing up a rainbow while the cat-eared guy recoils in horror. This cat-eared guy immediately starts blaming Li Fei for getting in his way, who yells right back that it was his fault. While those two are busy bickering, Luoya just zips by and effortlessly snags the beaver herself. She holds up their target, scolding them for struggling with such a low-level creature. Total pros, these guys. Back at the mission hall, the team reports their success to the branch president, Frank, and it turns out their dangerous target was just a little kid's runaway pet beaver, a truly high-stakes operation. Later, the team relaxes in the ridiculously fancy lounge, with Luoya sipping tea like she owns the place. Frank is at the counter, processing their mission completion with some very unusual paperwork. He snaps his fingers, and a little green slug on the desk starts to glow. This is their mission log, apparently. A beam of light then zaps the poor slug, which promptly plays dead to confirm the job is done. Frank confirms they earned 3 whole points and tells them to pick another quest and get out of his hair. But Li Fei and his buddy are already complaining that D-rank missions are way too boring for them. Frank just scoffs, telling them they need 1,000 points to even think about C-rank missions. Even Luoya chimes in, arguing that these easy jobs are a complete waste of their incredible talents. Their cat-eared friend then hypes them up, boasting about their 100% compatibility to the boss. Hearing all their confidence, Frank actually seems to consider giving them a real challenge. He offers them a new job: investigate some phantom beasts that are harassing a nearby island. Their only task is to find out what is going on and then report back to him. But if they fail, it is back to endless training until he says they are done, and the team is somehow thrilled. Out in the woods again, Li Fei asks for some basic info on their destination, the Black Charcoal Kingdom, and the cat-eared guy absolutely loses his mind, shocked that his new teammates do not even know basic geography. So the cat-eared guy launches into a geography lesson, explaining the continent has three major kingdoms. Their destination, the Black Charcoal Kingdom, is an archipelago that is constantly being attacked by phantom beasts. Li Fei asks if phantom beasts are supposed to be friendly, but gets told some are just naturally hostile. Apparently the intelligent ones avoid humans, so these recent attacks are completely out of character. This makes Li Fei realize why Frank sent them on this mission, just as he spots some people up ahead. Hiding in the bushes, Luoya points out the two guys are wearing the same uniform as their psycho-examiner Falk, and there they are, two soldiers just standing on a hill looking incredibly suspicious. This team quickly deduces that the phantom beasts must be targeting people in these specific uniforms. Overhearing their conversation, it sounds like they are meeting their superiors on a nearby island with some package. With that, the two grunts take off running, clearly in a hurry to make their meeting. This cat-eared guy realizes the island they mentioned is one of the attack sites, and Li Fei gives the order to follow. So the whole squad sprints through the forest, hot on the trail of the two mysterious soldiers. This grunts arrive and kneel before their bosses, a buff dude with a snake arm and a woman with a giant turtle. This new snake-armed leader is worried their whole operation will fail if their demands are not met. His partner just smirks, warning the grunts that their own leader will be furious if they screw this up. When asked who their team leader is, the grunts nervously mention someone named Crimson Armor. And for that answer, the boss just casually backhands one of them into the dirt, talk about a tough performance review. Our team watches from the bushes, absolutely baffled that these guys were so incompetent they did not even notice being tailed. But their stealth mission is officially a bust. Li Fei realizes they have been spotted and these two new villains look tough. This snake-armed boss is already winding up a punch, ready to greet his uninvited guests with some serious pain. This snake-armed boss immediately attacks, slamming his fist down with enough force to shatter the ground. Popping up from behind a stump, Li Fei asks if they'd believe they were just passing by, a solid plan really. But Luoya has zero time for diplomacy, drawing her bow and declaring it is time to shoot first. This villain just casually catches her flaming arrow with 2 fingers, complimenting her for having the guts to try. Her arrow then explodes in a massive fireball, which he just stands in like it is a light breeze. His partner smirks that she has to leave on orders, telling her buddy Jack to handle the kids. This turtle-toting villain decides to give them a parting gift from his boss, something he needs to test out. He then pulls out a syringe and injects his giant turtle with some kind of power-up juice. With a jolt of electricity, the turtle launches into the air, rocketing straight towards the team. It spins like a deadly Beyblade, turning its entire body into a high-speed projectile of doom. Li Fei notes its speed is insane, but its power is only king level as the team scrambles to dodge. Their cat-eared friend leaps in for a slash, mocking the beast for not even trying to evade him. His attack just clangs off the shell, leaving him completely stunned by how hard it is. A strange blue energy pattern then lights up on the shell's surface right where he struck it. This pattern unleashes a shockwave that sends him flying, forcing Luoya to dive in for a rescue. Li Fei realizes in shock that the entire turtle shell is basically a weaponized counterattack system. After the save, the cat-eared guy admits he'd have been a goner without Luoya's quick thinking. Taking charge, Li Fei orders Luoya to aim her explosive arrows directly at the giant turtle's eyes. She immediately agrees, drawing back her bow with another volley of flaming arrows ready to fly. Her shots land true, peppering the beast's head with a series of small but direct explosions. Seeing his opening, Li Fei powers up a punch, yelling that now is the time to strike. He launches himself into the air, slamming a 12-hit combo punch right into the turtle's gut. This attack lands with a series of heavy thuds, and he can only hope it actually did some damage. But the turtle's eye just glows an angry red, revving up for another high-speed spin attack. Looking up, Li Fei yells for Luoya to hold the beast steady so they can try that again. Suddenly, he senses something is off, a weird energy building up around them. It turns out the turtle is charging up a massive energy ball right where he punched it, and then it unleashes a devastating energy beam from its mouth, tearing through the landscape. Our team barely dives behind a rock for cover as the blast rips right past them. Their cat-eared friend immediately suggests a tactical retreat, admitting this king-level beast is way out of their league. Meanwhile, the giant turtle lets out a roar, clearly not done with its rampage just yet. Peeking over their cover, Li Fei and Luoya are confused when the beast just stops. Luoya cautiously approaches, telling Li Fei she can sense the creature is in immense pain. Its eye is no longer glowing red, instead looking weary and full of sadness. This whole team stands there completely baffled as the giant phantom beast just calms down. In a shocking twist, the turtle actually speaks, explaining it is dying from the drug and needs their help. Li Fei is completely thrown, trying to process how this whole situation just flipped on its head. This turtle explains its clan lived peacefully near an island until a group of mercenaries suddenly attacked them. In a flashback, we see them getting captured, scooped up in giant nets by men on a ship. They were then dragged away with their heads covered and taken to some kind of secret laboratory. This turtle confirms it was a lab, calling the place a living hell as the team listens in shock. In a flashback, we see the lab where scientists ran all sorts of twisted, inhumane experiments on them. It watched its own kind get injected with that same drug, go completely berserk, and then die from exhaustion. So Li Fei immediately asks the important questions, how it escaped and if it remembers the lab's location. Turns out this turtle was a failed experiment, and the drug was originally meant to control it, But instead of making it docile, the drug just sent it into a rage, letting it smash right through a wall. After escaping, it ended up lost at sea, drifting aimlessly until its strength completely gave out. It finally washed ashore on this island, only for those two mercenaries to show up for a recapture mission. Li Fei then asks the obvious question, does it know who those guys actually are? This poor thing starts crying, saying it does not know their identities, but they are definitely from the Black Charcoal Kingdom. As it weeps, a single glowing teardrop forms and falls from its eye. Luoya catches the tear, now a gem, as the turtle explains it is a bead of its life force to save its clan leader. In return, it promises the team will be rewarded with the legendary treasure of the Rock Phantom Turtle clan. And with its final plea made, the giant turtle's body crumbles into dust, its life finally spent. Left in silence, the team starts to connect the dots. This must be the real reason for the Phantom Beast attacks. Their cat-eared friend points out that if mercenaries are running secret labs, this is way above their D-rank pay grade. But of course, his first thought is how much this priceless life force gem would sell for priorities people. For that brilliant thought, he earns a swift punch to the head from a very unamused Luoya. While Luoya is busy teaching him some manners, Li Fei decides their next move: report back, then head to the kingdom. Meanwhile, in the Black Charcoal Kingdom, an ornate throne sits empty, hinting at the power behind all this. Inside the Black Charcoal Kingdom, a royal guard stands watch, setting a very serious tone. Our heroes walk into a massive throne room, flanked by soldiers as they approach the kingdom's leader. Sitting on his throne, a rather dapper duke is annoyed this whole Phantom Beast mess is happening in his territory. He stands up, vowing to contact the Phantom Beast Association and hunt down the illegal lab himself. As they leave, Li Fei comments that the duke is a pretty sharp guy for taking them so seriously. But before they can get far, the duke suddenly calls out for them to stop. Turning around, Li Fei asks if there is anything else the man needs from them. Turns out he has a side quest: investigate a statue weeping black tears since his own guys are busy. He even offers to pay for all their expenses in the city, a classic please stay out of my hair bribe. So naturally, their first stop is a glorious, shimmering mountain of hamburgers. At a table, the whole team absolutely demolishes the food, complaining they have been starving for ages. With his face covered in food, Li Fei joyfully calls for another round, a true professional at work. Luoya meanwhile facepalms, asking if it is not weird the duke hired them with all his own men around. Through a mouthful of burger, their friend proudly declares it is because they are the elites. A statement of pure fact, obviously. She then glances over at Li Fei, who is currently choking on his food like the elite warrior he is. Completely unimpressed, Luoya just asks them to repeat what they just said. Giving up, she just sighs, knowing she should never have relied on these two clowns. Meanwhile, two guys at another table are talking about how the statue in the square is weeping again. Li Fei overhears them mention a weird, possibly poisonous smell that is giving people headaches, but they just shrug it off, complaining the city guards will not investigate the sewers, so they will just stay away. Elsewhere, a serious-looking girl with a pet bird wonders if this problem is already affecting the citizens. Done waiting for orders, she slams her fist down, declaring they are heading to the sewers to investigate now. And so we descend into the city's surprisingly grand and very suspicious sewer system. Li Fei's team heads down, with the cat-eared guy immediately commenting on the fancy architecture, but their new companion points out that something feels wrong. The city's geography does not justify this scale. She is convinced there is no logical reason for a sewer system to be this enormous. Right on cue, the water starts bubbling ominously, because of course it does. Li Fei's little white spirit starts barking like crazy at the water, sensing immediate danger. A watery tentacle then whips out of the canal, shooting straight for the tiny creature. It snags the spirit midair, and Li Fei can only yell its name as it is dragged away. With their mascot captured, the entire team sprints down the tunnel in hot pursuit. Li Fei takes the lead, shouting for everyone to keep up the chase. They round a corner just in time to see the spirit dangling helplessly over the water, and then a gigantic slime monster erupts from the depths, holding the little guy in its grip. Li Fei recognizes the low-level demon but is shocked by its size as the girl calls for a fusion attack. Powering up, Li Fei transforms into his armored form, complete with a very dramatic red cape. This slime monster does not waste a second, firing off a volley of sharp, liquid projectiles. Before he can even move, the projectiles wrap around Li Fei's limbs, completely binding him. His new winged friend flies up to help, warning him to be careful as the cat-eared guy prepares to fight. She then drops the bombshell. These things reproduce asexually, so one big one means there is an entire army. This winged girl tells everyone to quit whining about the numbers and just start fighting already. Not needing to be told twice, their cat-eared friend leaps in, slicing through the little goo monsters. His new companion follows up with a fiery slash of her own, cutting down a whole line of them. Li Fei then powers up his own attack, blue energy swirling around his fist with intense focus. He unleashes a massive whirlwind, sucking up dozens of the tiny slimes into a vortex of doom. After clearing the fodder, Li Fei comments that these low-level demons are almost insultingly weak. This winged girl explains they are basically just sewer janitors that eat garbage, not exactly top-tier threats, but she warns that the big one is giving off a seriously bad vibe unlike its smaller brethren. As if on cue, the giant slime monster starts twisting its body into a tight, unnatural spiral. It contorts into a weird bubbly mass, making Li Fei wonder if it ate something that disagreed with it. This creature then unleashes a massive blast of energy straight up from its cold body. Their winged ally immediately screams for everyone to get back and take cover. Just in time, the team dodges a spray of projectiles that splatter against the wall behind them. Li Fei watches the ground sizzle, realizing that acid would have melted his bones on contact. Even the expert is stunned, admitting she has never heard of these slimes being able to spit acid. Suddenly, Li Fei hears a strange noise from above, catching him completely off guard. A massive iron gate slams down from the ceiling, sealing off their only escape route. This team realizes this is no accident, connecting the trap to the Duke's suspicious side quest. Li Fei grimly concludes the Duke never planned to call for help, he just wanted to lock them in here. In disbelief, their cat-eared friend rattles the bars, trapped with a monster that is way off script. Their cat-eared friend, now stuck in the sewer water, wonders aloud why the Duke would possibly do this. Li Fei points out the obvious. The Duke was the only one who knew they were coming down here. So deciding brute force is the best policy, he powers up, ready to punch his way out and ask some questions. He unleashes his 12-hit combo punch, slamming a wave of blue energy right into the iron gate. And it does absolutely nothing, leaving him completely stunned that the bars are unscratched. Their winged companion explains the gate is made of a special ore that even king-level beasts cannot break. At the same time, the cat-eared guy clutches his head, complaining about a sudden splitting headache. This winged girl connects all the dots. The Duke is raising this mutated demon, which now spits acid and poison gas. She reveals the poison gas is the source of the weeping statue, finally solving their little side quest. Even Li Fei is starting to feel the effects, sweating as he tries to grasp the Duke's insane plan. With no other choice, their winged ally grips her sword, knowing they have to fight their way through this. She faces the giant slime monster, declaring they will just have to take out the big boss first. In response, the creature fires a high-pressure jet of goo straight up into the air. So she flies up to intercept it, her blades glowing with golden energy as she charges forward. Only for an entire welcoming party of smaller slime monsters to suddenly pop into existence. This main monster then starts absorbing its little minions, growing even larger and more menacing. Now leaning on Li Fei for support, the cat-eared guy warns that the poison is getting to him fast. Li Fei tells him to hang in there, noticing there is still one area of the sewer they have not checked. Powering up his spirit fist one more time, he decides to make his own exit. And he unleashes another 12-hit combo, this time blasting a massive whirlpool into the water. This whirlpool attack carves a massive vortex into the sewer canal, churning the poison water. His winged friend yells for Li Fei to keep attacking the pit. There has to be an open space below. She then realizes the smell coming from the hole is identical to the phantom beast drug from the island. With his cat-eared friend barely standing, Li Fei tells them to back off and leave the rest to him. He powers up his spirit energy once more, blue rings of power swirling around him for another big hit. Unleashing his 12-hit combo punch again, he aims it straight at the sewer floor this time. His fist smashes into the stone, shattering the ground beneath him with overwhelming force. And just like that, he has created a brand new, very large, and very dark hole for them to escape through. Peering down, they find what looks like a massive drainage pipe, the likely source of the whole mess. For questioning her sense of smell, the cat-eared guy gets his cheek pinched, a totally normal reaction in a crisis. She confirms the mutagenic smell is from below, but he points out the pipe is way too narrow to fit through. At that moment, the giant slime monster behind them lets out an ominous gurgle, reminding them it exists. Their winged ally glances back, suddenly remembering the giant, acid-spitting problem they are still running from. Then a brilliant, probably terrible, idea pops into her head as she figures out a way down. Her genius plan involves them stacking up and shimmying down the pipe like a human ladder, peak strategy. But their escape is immediately crashed by a mini-slime because she forgot they are basically liquid. Outside the pipe, the giant slime monster roars, clearly not a fan of its prey trying to leave. It then launches a smaller piece of itself like a gooey torpedo right into their escape route. Stuck in the cramped tunnel, the cat-eared guy panics, realizing there is absolutely no room to dodge. So Li Fei, leading this ridiculous conga line of doom, just yells at everyone to hurry up and slide faster. Looking up the narrow pipe, their only escape is a grated hole high above them. With a solid kick, Li Fei busts the grate open, tumbling out into a completely new area. They land ungracefully inside some kind of high-tech, sterile-looking room, definitely not the sewers anymore. Their cat-eared friend pops out next, a tiny cat now perched on his shoulder for moral support. Li Fei immediately asks where they are while their winged ally notes the air feels thick and strangely hot. This cat-eared guy confirms the obvious, they have stumbled right into a secret laboratory. He then spots the slime monster outside a porthole, taunting it now that there is a wall between them. From the pipe, the giant slime monster glares in, absolutely furious that its prey has escaped. Back inside, the cat-eared guy says the air is making him sick, as both the cat and the now rescued spirit look unwell. Kneeling to comfort the animals, he asks their winged companion if she has found any clues yet. And she has, a stack of failed experiment reports detailing how to forcibly power up phantom beasts. One report from 10 years ago shows a mutated dog that gained power but lost its sanity and then its life. Another details a rampaging minotaur, proving the researchers have a long history of creating uncontrollable monsters. She realizes with a shock that this illegal lab has been secretly operating for over a decade. Putting it all together, she declares the Duke is behind this, using his mercenaries to cover up the whole operation. Li Fei wants to report this to the association, but their friend points out one tiny problem: they are still trapped. Their only way out is the same disgusting pipe they came in through, much to everyone's absolute horror. Crawling back through the tunnel, the cat-eared guy swears off ventilation shafts for life as she tells him to stop whining. Li Fei follows from behind with his spirit, climbing a ladder toward the light at the end of the tunnel. Finally, a hand pushes open a manhole cover, and they emerge into the bright daylight of the city square. Popping out of the manhole, the cat-eared guy wonders where the heck they have ended up now, and it turns out the sewer pipe leads directly to the central plaza, right under the infamous weeping statue. Li Fei finally connects the dots about the statue, but now he is wondering why the entire square is deserted. Suddenly, he spots something in the distance, yelling for the others to look over there. A strange red mist is rolling through the streets, and she recognizes the smell. It is the same as the labs. He immediately warns everyone to retreat, guessing this mist will make anyone it touches go berserk. This entire city is being blanketed in this stuff, and the consequences of that are gonna be catastrophic. Taking charge, the winged girl orders them to split up and start evacuating civilians immediately. But just as they are about to move, a powerful gust of wind rips through the square. Li Fei shields his eyes, realizing this wind is anything but natural. And from the mist emerges a giant, screeching skeleton monster. Is that a chicken? Their cat-eared friend identifies it as a low-level bone rooster, totally baffled by its massive size. Li Fei transforms into his battle gear, wondering how the city guard let a monster this big just wander in. This giant skeletal chicken roars down at them, ready to throw down in the middle of the city. She gives the order to take this thing down fast so they can get back to the evacuation plan. Li Fei's first strike lands, shattering part of the creature's bony frame with a solid punch. Not to be outdone, their cat-eared friend roars, powering up for his own attack. He follows up with a brutal strike of his own, shattering one of its skeletal legs. Then Li Fei swoops in from the other side, landing another devastating blow on the monster. Leaping into the air, he prepares to finish this with his signature 12-hit combo punch. Li Fei looks down at the dust, wondering if his big finisher actually finished anything. But a sudden noise makes him look up, because of course it is not over yet. His shattered bones are now reforming into a swarm of mini pterodactyl skeletons in the sky, and they are all crackling with that same nasty purple energy, ready for round 2. Their winged friend is completely surrounded, questioning where the heck the city guard ran off to. Li Fei cannot believe how much has gone wrong in just half a day, from sewers to skeleton armies, so he powers up another vortex of pure blue energy. Done playing games with this thing, he launches another whirlwind, aiming to grind every last bone into a fine, non-regenerating powder. This monster is way too fast, though, dodging his attack with a sharp turn. It zips past him in a blur, clearly not impressed by his fancy light show. Li Fei pivots instantly, his own energy flaring up to intercept its next move. Unleashing his 12-hit combo punch, he throws everything he has into this next barrage. His attack connects, sending bones flying everywhere once again. Let us hope it sticks this time. Not to be left out, their cat-eared friend grins, boasting that he has got some moves too. He leaps onto the monster's massive leg, getting up close and personal. With a savage grin, he gets a solid grip, ready to literally tear this thing apart, and he rips a huge chunk of its spine right off, a solid, if slightly gruesome, strategy. Following his lead, their winged ally swoops in from above, her wings wreathed in fire. She carves through the skeletal beast with her flaming blades, a whirlwind of righteous fury. Gripping her sword tightly, she prepares to deliver the final decisive blow. She carves through the skeleton with a flaming slash, yelling for it to get down. As the bones clatter to the ground, she just scoffs at the brainless creature. Their cat-eared friend smugly points out these things are all size and no real power. She immediately corrects him, they are weak to them but would wipe out any normal person. But just then, 2 more of the skeletal chickens pop up, crackling with that same purple energy. These new nightmares screech and charge straight for the team, ready for another round. Suddenly, a swirling vortex of dark energy erupts, pulling both monsters into its grasp. Both Li Fei and his friend are completely blindsided, wondering what the hell is happening now. These 2 skeletons are dragged together, screaming as they are forced to combine into one. Their cat-eared companion panics at the fusion, while Li Fei feels the pressure spike to king level. He finally puts it together: the slime, the skeletons, the mastermind's goal must be forced fusion. Their winged ally suggests they run, admitting they cannot fight this, but Li Fei tells her to hold on. Turning to him, she suddenly warns that someone else is coming and they are extremely dangerous. This newly fused bone monster roars down at them, a much bigger and nastier problem than before. Li Fei yells for them to run, but she is frozen in place, saying there is no escape. With her paralyzed, the guys realize they have no choice but to fight this thing head-on. Out of nowhere, a spinning blade slices through the air, heading straight for the monster's head. It connects with a devastating impact, completely shattering the creature's skull in one clean hit. Li Fei is just stunned, wondering who could possibly be strong enough to one-shot a king-level beast. And through the dust, a new, very built guy walks into the square, looking like he owns the place. This new guy immediately disarms them, whipping out a chain with some serious swagger. His chain wraps around a weapon, yanking it clean out of someone's hands. A massive scythe flies through the air as the team just stares up, completely caught off guard. With a firm grip, the stranger catches his weapon, clearly in control of the situation. He then asks why they are still hanging around when the entire city's been evacuated. Li Fei steps up, explaining they are from the association and have urgent intel from the sewers. This dude just smirks, genuinely surprised they have absolutely no clue who he is. So he gives them the full over-the-top intro. He is an S-rank member, the Black Reaper. Carlos and our hero's reaction is pure cringe, thinking this guy seems totally unreliable and embarrassing. To prove his credentials, Carlos flashes a very loud lionhead gauntlet, demanding their report. Li Fei and his friend are still not buying it, whispering about how ridiculously flashy it looks. Losing his patience, Carlos flexes his aura, which is a great way to get people to talk. Li Fei immediately switches gears, buttering him up about how someone so strong and kind must be legit. He begins his report, recounting how the Duke sent them to investigate the statue in the first place. Then he covers the whole sewer adventure, the monster, the secret lab, and the damning evidence they found. Handing over the reports, Li Fei declares it is all the Duke's fault since only he knew their location. But their winged ally is not so sure, insisting the Duke cannot be the real mastermind behind all this. Li Fei pushes back, asking who else has the power to throw the entire city into chaos so quickly. Carlos calmly explains that the Duke ordered an evacuation right after they left, then met someone in private. Li Fei scoffs that an evacuation proves nothing, but Carlos shuts him down. The Duke could not have done it because he is dead. Li Fei and his friend are completely floored by this news. The Duke is dead. Carlos explains that right after they left, the red mist spread, causing phantom beasts to rampage. This Duke ordered the evacuation, but when Carlos went to report, he walked into a nightmare. He found the entire ducal guard slaughtered, every single one taken out with a single clean strike, and the Duke himself was on his throne just casually missing his head. Li Fei starts putting the pieces together, asking Carlos about the Duke's suspicious actions before he died. He drops a bombshell theory: the mastermind is not the Duke, but someone inside the association. This Duke must have suspected a traitor and was silenced before he could expose them. But before anyone can process that, a massive surge of energy erupts from the plaza floor. A giant roaring beast made of pure white energy and stone bursts out of the ground. This whole team just stares up, wondering what fresh hell has decided to join the party. Carlos just smirks, calling it a king-level beast and saying the last monster was just a warm-up. He dismisses their theory as baseless, telling them to investigate the forest while he handles this. Then he turns his attention to their winged companion, singling her out. She is completely caught off guard by the sudden, weirdly intense focus, and he gives her some unsolicited life advice about enjoying the path she has chosen. Super helpful dude. Wrapping his arm in chains, he grins that it has been a while since he has warmed up on a king-level beast. With a final smirk, he rockets off the ground, ready to throw down with the monster. Taking her cue, the winged girl tells the others to head for the northwest forest immediately. And so their next destination is set, the forest where this whole catastrophe began. Following Carlos's suggestion, the team heads deep into the northwest forest to investigate. But Li Fei's immediately confused. Was not this whole place supposed to be blanketed in red mist? Their cat-eared friend is already bored out of his mind, complaining there is not even a mouse around. Getting a bad feeling, Li Fei asks their winged ally why she completely froze up back at the plaza. She just brushes it off, claiming she was overwhelmed by the sheer power of an S-rank. Totally believable. But Li Fei is not buying it for a second, pointing out her reaction looked a lot more like fear. She does not appreciate the psychoanalysis, immediately decking him for getting too close to the truth. Sending our boy Li Fei flying clean through a couple of trees, guess that topic's closed. He lands with a pretty spectacular crash somewhere deep in the woods. His soul is literally leaving his body. That punch had some asterisk serious feeling behind it. She screams that she will talk when she is ready, and Cat Guy is just happy he was not the one asking. Li Fei scrambles to apologize, promising to never bring it up again as she is literally radiating fury. Just then, one of the cat companions suddenly takes off barking into the woods. Wasting no time, she yells for the others to follow it, sensing something's wrong. This cat leads them to a massive pit filled with blood and the remains of countless animals. Hovering above this nightmare pit, a massive sphere of red energy is gathering power. It pulses violently, shooting a concentrated beam of that same energy straight into the sky. This beam punches a hole right through the clouds, and just like that, the orb vanishes. This team just stares up at the sky, completely baffled as to what they just witnessed. She finds a barely living beast on the ground, realizing its power was just drained by that orb. Li Fei spots another one of those energy orbs in the sky, realizing this is far from over. And just like before, it is draining the life force from all the cute, unsuspecting forest critters. This whole forest is sparkling with this ominous red energy, a beautiful but deadly sight. He explains the mist is not fatal, it just saps your energy, but where did it all go? Their winged ally suddenly feels something else entirely, a different kind of power at play. She realizes they are trapped inside a massive magic formation designed to block their senses. It is a high-level illusion, meaning everything they are seeing is a carefully crafted lie. Li Fei immediately asks the obvious question: can she break them out of this thing? She offers two options, the first being hit it really hard, but the caster is at least king level. Cat Guy immediately panics, asking if king level is the new B rank and suggesting they just run. But Li Fei knows they cannot wait for backup while the entire forest is on a countdown to destruction. She agrees, warning that if this mist reaches the city, it'll be a total catastrophe. Their friend is still not on board with the suicide mission, trying to talk some sense into them. but she confidently says she can handle a king-level threat, and Li Fei is ready to back her up. This leaves Cat Guy having a full-blown existential crisis about being left in the dust power-wise, and he gets a solid punch to the face for all his whining. She tells him to stop complaining and either fight or get out of the way, a solid management style. He immediately changes his tune, promising to follow her orders. Fear is a great motivator, apparently. Taking to the sky, she reveals the second plan: find the formation's central node and hit it with everything. She pinpoints the weak spot, gathering her power for a coordinated strike. It is go time. She leads the charge, drawing back a volley of flaming arrows with deadly focus. Unleashing her explosive arrow attack from the sky to shatter the illusion's core. Down below, their cat-eared friend rushes in with his own tearing claw attack, while Li Fei throws a 12 consecutive punch, backed by a massive spirit dragon. Their combined power connects with the target, erupting in a spectacular explosion. But when the smoke clears, all they have done is reveal a massive, ominous tower. Li Fei immediately decides they are going in to find out what is at the top. And at the very peak, a swirling mass of red energy pulses with a single glowing eye. This strange, orb-like device is clearly the source of the entire red mist catastrophe. Their winged ally confirms it is the control device and declares she is going to destroy it. So she takes flight, rocketing straight up the tower's central staircase to end this, only to find the tower's defenses are a bunch of frogs just sitting on a ledge. Nope, scratch that, they are spitting a full-on barrage of deadly ice shards at her. She is completely blindsided by this sudden, very frosty welcome party, forcing her to weave and dodge through the storm of projectiles just to stay airborne. Then a massive ice crystal materializes right above her, threatening to crush her flat. She barely manages to swerve out of its path as it plummets toward the ground. Gritting her teeth, she is clearly getting fed up with these surprisingly effective frog guards. Her direct assault fails, forcing her to land back on the ground floor. Frustrated, she tells the guys she cannot fly up, they will just become sitting ducks for the frogs. Li Fei looks up at the impossible tower, asking if it is just full of monsters and phantoms. But their winged ally corrects him: this is not an illusion, it is advanced spatial magic. She explains it is a pocket dimension created by a king-level beast, trapping them inside. Cat Guy immediately starts spiraling, realizing they are stuck with no way to escape. With no other option, Li Fei decides they will just have to fight their way up, floor by floor. He is pretty sure the three of them are more than enough to reach the device at the top. Putting his hands to the massive doors, he pushes his way into the mysterious tower. And the entrance opens to reveal a bright, sunny courtyard, which is not what they expected. Stepping inside, the team is completely baffled by the peaceful, almost idyllic scenery. But high above, the sinister red orb still pulses, a grim reminder of their actual mission. This winged girl recognizes some plants as food for low-level beasts, confused by the sheer quantity. Suddenly, Cat Guy senses something behind him, whipping around to face the threat. A shadowy figure with boxing gloves comes flying out of the sky, aiming right for him. And a surprisingly jacked rabbit lands a solid punch right in his gut, a truly humbling experience. He goes flying across the grass, completely laid out by a single blow from a bunny. Landing like a pro, the rabbit strikes a fighting pose, demanding they state their names. Instead of being alarmed, the winged girl is totally starstruck. It is a nearly king-level boxing rabbit. Li Fei is just confused, pointing out these things are usually the weakest monsters around. Trying to be diplomatic, she pets the rabbit's ear, telling it to move along before it gets hurt. This rabbit responds to this condescension with a swift kick right to her face. So much for peace talks. Livid from the kick, she screams she's going to turn it into spicy rabbit head. So much for the high road. She summons a massive whirlwind attack, but the rabbit just casually dodges the whole thing. Getting tossed around, she complains that this thing is not cute at all, which is a weird priority right now. Meanwhile, Cat Guy is just trying to stand up, completely lost after getting one-shotted earlier. And of course, the out-of-control whirlwind immediately heads straight for his face, sending him flying again as he screams about being the universe's designated punching bag. This rabbit lands perfectly, warning them that this place is off-limits and they need to leave. Li Fei tries playing negotiator, explaining they just need to break the device upstairs and they will be gone. But its only duty is to protect that device, so anyone trying to destroy it is an enemy, period. With peace talks officially dead, the winged girl summons a volley of flaming arrows, done playing nice. She lets them loose, yelling that they will just have to beat it into submission first. In response, the rabbit unleashes a flurry of punches, creating a literal wall of boxing gloves to block her. Her arrows explode harmlessly against the barrage, leaving her completely stunned by its speed. So Li Fei steps in, challenging the rabbit to a proper fistfight with his 12 consecutive punch. He lands every single hit in a blinding flash, hammering the rabbit with a dozen impacts at once. This final blow connects with a massive explosion that should have ended this fight right there. But the rabbit emerges from the smoke, battered but still standing and actually impressed by the move. Li Fei's fist is smoking from the force of the attack, but his opponent is somehow still on its feet. Their winged ally comments that he is strong, but a rabbit's power is ultimately limited by its species, and right on cue its eye glows red as it starts chanting its name. It is powering up. Meanwhile, Cat Guy is having a very intimate moment with a brick wall after getting launched again. This rabbit goes full Super Saiyan, screaming that no one disrespects the bunny clan. Li Fei cannot believe this is happening as it continues its rant about being underestimated. It then launches itself into the air, wreathed in flames and ready to throw down. Our boy immediately tells the winged girl she started this so she can finish it, much to her annoyance. This rabbit explains that while its species is weak, their sheer numbers guarantee a genius will eventually be born. Its power literally scorches the earth, proving it is not just talking a big game, and this genius, it declares, will lead all rabbits to glory with a mighty kick to the face. It lands with an explosive impact, sending the whole team scrambling for cover. Absolutely done with this, the winged girl draws her bow, ready to end it, but Li Fei stops her. He pleads with her to wait, clearly trying to come up with a better plan than shoot the angry bunny. Cat Guy suddenly volunteers for duty, so Li Fei tells him to distract it while he makes a break for the stairs. When asked what he is up to, Li Fei just says he has his own plan, classic hero secrecy. With the new strategy set, the two guys get ready to face the surprisingly formidable rabbit head-on. Li Fei meets its charge with a swirling vortex of blue energy, bracing for the impact. Their powers collide in a massive shockwave, a true test of strength. But the rabbit's raw power is too much, sending Li Fei flying through the air. It stands there victorious, looking like the undisputed king of this courtyard. Just then, Cat Guy zips in from behind, seeing his perfect opening to strike. He lands a savage kick to the back of its head, yelling that he is here to collect. Cat Guy stands over the fallen rabbit, claws out, finally feeling like he contributed something. He explains to Li Fei that the rabbit was strong but slow, which is how he found an opening. Sure, buddy. But the rabbit's not done, thinking it cannot die here or the entire bunny race is doomed. And we flash back to its tragic origin story, starting with some intense tree punching. This little guy spent its youth training relentlessly, taking its anger out on the local flora. A rabbit elder praised its spirit, saying it could have been a great beast if it was not, a rabbit. But the young bunny vows to become a powerful beast anyway and lead its people to glory. This elder sadly explains their species has a hard power cap, making them permanent members of the food chain. Their only hope is a contract with a human, but he dismisses it as a fantasy no one would ever grant. We then see a glimpse of their brutal reality, a demonic wolf tearing through their village. This dying elder makes the young rabbit promise to lead their clan to a better future. And with his master gone, the rabbit is left alone with the weight of his entire species on his shoulders. He tries to get a contract, begging two women who just mock him for being a weak pet. They walk off laughing about how he'd make a better meal, humanity at its finest. Completely dejected, the rabbit cries, believing his clan is fated to be at the bottom forever. But just as he is about to give up, a young boy finds him in the woods. This kid offers him a contract and, more importantly, asks to be his friend. Overwhelmed with joy, the rabbit tearfully accepts, finally finding a glimmer of hope. That hope is immediately threatened when a thug attacks the boy, planning to cook the rabbits for dinner. Leaping to the rescue, the rabbit kicks the man away as its new friend screams in protest. This thug goes flying, but not before landing a nasty slash on the boy's back. Furious, the attacker curses the rabbit for ruining his fun and letting the kid get away. His master is bleeding out, telling the rabbit he will be fine and that it needs to live on. Desperate, the rabbit cries about being too weak to protect anyone, willing to do anything for power. And right on cue, a mysterious woman appears, offering a deadly experiment for that very power. She asks if it is ready to try, promising immense strength if it survives the ordeal, which is a big if. With the deal struck, she injects the rabbit with some glowing blue substance. This poor thing screams in agony as its body begins to twist and transform. It emerges super jacked, roaring that it is just one step away from becoming a king-level beast. This woman then tasks it with guarding this place from intruders, which brings us back to the present. Back in the courtyard, the rabbit's aura explodes as it vows to break through its limits. This team is just baffled, with Cat Guy wondering how it is even moving with a hole in its head. In a truly bizarre move, the rabbit just pulls a blade of grass out of the wound. Both Li Fei and Cat Guy stare, realizing there is something very wrong with the local lawn care. Their winged ally sniffs the grass, noting the faint but distinct smell of blood. That smell is disturbingly familiar, and they see streaks of it all over the ground. This rabbit powers up again, screaming its desire to become the strongest of its kind. Seeing it has lost its mind, the winged girl suggests they just head upstairs and leave it, but Li Fei refuses, saying if they leave now, they will surely die. This team is confused by who they are as he looks down at the blood-soaked grass. Li Fei connects the dots. The grass is just fodder for whatever is trapped under this tower. But the rabbit is too busy raging, slamming its fist down and vowing to make everyone fear it. It is still powering up, screaming that anyone who ever looked down on it is going to pay. Li Fei cuts through the monologue, asking if it cannot hear the wailing from under the floorboards. This completely stops the rabbit in its tracks, which turns around in total disbelief. He lays out the horrifying truth: it has been draining the life from its own kind to fuel its power. With that bombshell dropped, Li Fei charges forward to shatter the ground beneath them, and his attack reveals hundreds of other rabbits trapped below, being used as a living battery. They are all pale and weak, their life force being siphoned away to power up their supposed champion. Li Fei yells that he can feel their hope, they are all cheering for it, but it betrayed them completely. This rabbit starts panicking, claiming the mysterious woman only said the grass would make it strong. As the awful realization sinks in, it collapses to its knees, absolutely devastated by the truth. It just sobs, wondering if its species is really doomed to be weak and exploited forever. Li Fei spells it out: that woman played it for a fool, feeding it the blood of its own family. This whole point was to turn it into her personal lab rat, a disposable guard for the tower. He then asks if it does not already feel the king-level power it has been chasing this whole time. Kneeling down, Li Fei gives it a pep talk, saying its own self-doubt is the only thing holding it back. He even gives the crying bunny a comforting pat on the head, talk about a sudden change of heart, and just like that, its eyes glow as it realizes it is overflowing with newfound strength. With a final roar, it launches into the air, ready to unleash its true unchained power. Fully powered up, the rabbit zips up the stairs, leaving a trail of pure, concentrated, butt-kicking energy. His allies are floored by its king-level aura, with Cat Guy immediately blaming Li Fei for strengthening the enemy. This rabbit then thanks them for the pep talk, saying the whole draining my family crisis really helped it find itself. Li Fei just stands there at the top of the stairs, asking if it still plans on getting in their way, and the rabbit's like, nah, I am good, deciding to just grab its clan and leave this whole mess behind. So our boy asks the obvious question, what exactly is this place and what is the deal with the device upstairs? This rabbit explains it has no idea, only that some snow lady hired it and other beasts to be guards. It then struggles to hoist a giant sack of its kin, mentioning the promise of amazing power was the signing bonus. With its entire family packed up, it wishes them luck on the not-so-easy road ahead and pieces out. Li Fei and the winged girl are left wondering who this mysterious snow lady is that can recruit so many powerful monsters. Getting fed up, she starts shaking Li Fei, demanding he drop the act and spill what he knows. Cat Guy actually steps in with some lore, explaining a snow lady is a rare humanoid beast of immense power. This makes Li Fei realize their whole theory is shot. The one making the potion might not even be human. They mull over the new possibilities, wondering what a beast would even want with this kind of research. But the winged girl is still stuck on a grudge from earlier, screaming about skinning the frog that shot at her. This two guys just high-five over her head, promising to get revenge for her, a totally sincere and supportive gesture. With their rabbit-shaped detour officially over, the team finally turns their attention to the stairs. Li Fei pauses though, thinking it is way too quiet for a place supposedly packed with elite monster guards. His impatient allies are already charging up, telling him to hurry up if there is nothing there. He cannot shake the bad feeling though, noticing a dark, suspicious stain on the floor. That dark stain Li Fei spotted starts creeping up the stairs after them, looking very much alive. It slithers up the spiral staircase, leaving a trail of pure, unadulterated bad news. As they sprint upwards, a disembodied voice hits them with a classic riddle, 3 doors, 1 choice. And sure enough, they arrive at a landing with 3 massive, ominous-looking doors waiting for them. Li Fei turns to his team, asking for their expert opinions on this very obvious trap. Cat Guy suddenly remembers a spooky childhood story because that is exactly what they need right now. He explains how lost kids in the woods attract demons, a totally helpful and not at all terrifying anecdote. This demon then offers a riddle, answer right for a prize, and it even has candy. But if you get it wrong, you are locked in a cage forever, a real feel-good story for the kids. This winged girl absolutely loses it, shaking the guy and screaming at him to stop telling horror stories. While Cat Guy begs for forgiveness, Li Fei tries to get everyone to focus on which door to pick. Taking charge, the winged girl declares they cannot risk splitting up, so they will take the middle door. She confidently strides forward to push it open, ready to face whatever's on the other side. As the doors part, a brilliant light floods out, giving them a brief moment of hope, which is immediately shattered by a giant, grinning shadow demon lunging out at them. Our winged ally completely panics, screaming that Cat Guy's stupid story was actually real. Li Fei, on the other hand, is completely calm, his eyes narrowed and ready for a fight. But then they are just standing on another landing, with Li Fei realizing they have reached the 2nd floor. This winged girl stares back down the stairs, completely baffled and refusing to believe they were just tricked. With fists clenched, she is absolutely furious and vowing that she is not going to be trapped here. Panicked, the winged girl flies back down the stairs, clearly not enjoying this magical mystery tour. She lands right where they started, stopping the guys in their tracks as they realize they are trapped. And she is absolutely losing it, screaming about how they ended up back on the 1st floor. Suddenly, a massive fireball erupts from the top of the stairs as she demands the trickster show itself. Li Fei suggests Cat Guy go say hello, who politely declines the suicide mission. Our boy then asks for any weaknesses from that spooky demon story he was just told. Cat Guy explains the demon was defeated when a kid just stole both its lollipops and it ran away. They conclude this demon must be incredibly weak if its only targets are children. Hearing that, Li Fei thinks he might just have a way to handle this thing after all. Their ally, however, is done with the lore dump and demands a plan now. So Li Fei just tells them to follow him, leading the charge back upstairs with an idea. His brilliant strategy, everyone just hit the middle door as hard as they possibly can. This winged girl is first up, launching a volley of explosive arrows at the target, followed immediately by Cat Guy's signature splitting claw attack, and Li Fei finishes it off with a 12-hit rapid-fire combo punch. Their combined power creates a massive explosion right on the door's face, but as the smoke clears, the door is still standing, completely unfazed by their assault. Li Fei just watches the debris fly by, looking weirdly calm about this whole thing, until a piece of whatever was behind the door splatters right onto his cheek, and a massive, golden, goopy monster descends from above, ready for round 2. This golden goo drips down from the ceiling, looking like a very unhappy batch of caramel. It splatters onto the floor right in front of the team, who are probably rethinking their life choices. This stuff then forms into a giant, vaguely humanoid shape with a creepy smiley face, art project gone wrong. Cat Guy actually recognizes it as a mud child, a normally tiny and pathetic illusion beast. He is freaking out because this one is huge and radiating a king-level aura, which is definitely not in the manual. This monster seems genuinely bummed they saw through its illusion, asking how they figured it out. Li Fei explains the 3 doors were just too extra for a brand new tower built for one purpose. With the architecture making no sense, he deduced the whole floor had to be one big fake-out. This mud child is impressed but taunts him, asking how he knew the asterisk method to break it. Our boy credits Cat Guy's horror story, theorizing the Snow Lady just powered up a bunch of low-tier monsters to act as guards. He figured if the demon in the story was weak enough to only trick kids, they were just facing a slightly upgraded version. So their plan was simple: overload the system by attacking everywhere at once, forcing the illusionist to show itself. It confirms everything, admitting the Snow Lady turned it into a forest demon and they have been running in circles the whole time. This winged girl is done with the exposition, declaring that since it is here, they are just gonna kill it. And the smiley-faced goo monster is just thrilled, inviting them to come play. This is getting weird. As she charges in, the monster's body just dissolves and splatters around her, dodging the attack. A bunch of goopy arms then shoot out, trying to grab her from all sides. A massive hand comes down to crush her, but she just stares it down, completely unimpressed. This hand splats harmlessly on the ground as she easily evades the attack. Now standing on the monster's remains, she complains that this thing is just gross and her powers do not work on it. She screams at her 2 allies who are just hiding behind pillars to get in the fight already. Her brilliant backup just shouts that they are also struggling and have no idea how to fight this thing. This mud child just keeps taunting them, asking them to come play, because this is all just a game to it. Realizing physical attacks are useless, Li Fei tells Cat Guy if it wants to play, they will play big. A very confused Cat Guy looks back, demanding to know what on earth Li Fei has in mind. Without another word, Li Fei just leaps off the pillar, telling his ally to trust him because he is the key. As he flies towards his teammate, he yells for the winged girl to get ready for the catch. His target lands right in the monster's goo, with the winged girl waiting for the signal. Right on cue, she swoops in and snatches Cat Guy from the muck with a determined look. She gets a solid grip on his wrist, locking him in place for the next part of the plan. Her other hand grabs his ankle, setting him up for a very undignified team-up attack, and the plan is revealed. She's just gonna swing him around like a living, screaming weapon. This monster responds by twisting itself into a giant goopy drill, ready to counter their move. Seeing the monster distracted, Li Fei charges in with a glowing fist, shouting for them to strike. His logic is simple: with a body this massive, forget weak spots and just punch the head, and he unloads a 12-hit rapid-fire punch combo directly into its smiley face. This sends the monster flying, though it still looks absolutely thrilled to be part of the action. As it sails across the room, pieces of it start to flake off from the sheer force of the blow. Just as it is airborne, the winged girl's attack slams into it, impaling its body with white energy. This 1-2 punch causes the monster to explode into a massive splatter on the ceiling, as the team wonders if it is finally over. This winged girl shields her face from the splattered goo, screaming about how disgusting it all is. But Li Fei suddenly feels an intense chill as a massive, dark aura looms behind him. Hanging from the ceiling, the mud child explains that while its head was the core, its power is now scattered. This entire team instinctively huddles together for warmth against the sudden, bone-deep cold. It then reveals it used that scattered energy to create an entire illusionary world of ice and snow. This little monster taunts them from the wall, asking if they seriously think they can escape its trap. And just like that, they are stranded in a raging blizzard on a frozen mountain, completely caught in the illusion. She immediately starts yelling at her teammates to stop the group hug and think of an actual plan. Cat Guy's brilliant idea is to just hold on and endure it, a true strategic mastermind at work. While Li Fei is literally freezing up, she screams that they are all going to become ice sculptures if they do not move. But then a single ray of sunlight breaks through the clouds, signaling a sudden shift. This blizzard abruptly stops, leaving the winged girl completely baffled by the change in weather. Li Fei just smirks, confidently stating that his theory was right all along. Turns out they never actually moved, they were just staring into a mirror reflecting the snowstorm illusion. A thin crack suddenly appears on the mirror's surface, showing the spell is beginning to fail. This sends the mud child into a full-blown panic, wondering why its illusion is becoming unstable. This entire mirror then shatters into pieces, completely breaking the icy prison. Li Fei looks down, totally exhausted but relieved, announcing that the fight is over. A moment later, he is grinning from ear to ear, triumphantly declaring their victory. His 2 allies, however, are just standing there completely lost, asking what the heck they even did. This tiny mud child is having a complete meltdown, demanding to know how they shattered its illusion. Li Fei just tells the little guy they did absolutely nothing, it basically defeated itself. This of course sends the goop monster into a rage, its face twisting as it denies everything. Our boy explains its power was a cheap gift from the Snow Lady, meaning it had zero actual control. And the mud child starts to realize he might have a point, flashing back to its recent failure. Li Fei continues, saying they just had to push its core until its borrowed power went haywire. Still in denial, it throws a tantrum, trying to summon one last illusion to prove it is the king. But Li Fei is completely over this lecture and just winds up a glowing blue fist. One clean punch to the gut is all it takes, shutting the little monster right up. It goes flying across the room like a sad, goopy baseball, and splatters against the far wall, its form completely dissolving from the impact. Now just a tiny, pathetic puddle, it realizes all its borrowed power has vanished. Li Fei calmly states that since the power was not earned, it was never truly his to keep. This little guy is now just terrified, crying for Li Fei to stay away from it. Instead of finishing it off, Li Fei gives it a head pat and tells it to go train properly for their next game. This mud child is just stunned into silence by this sudden act of mentorship. It then puffs out its chest, promising to get stronger for a real rematch. This is adorable and weird. With the monster pacified, the team finally stands on solid ground, the illusion completely gone. This winged girl is just staring at Li Fei, who asks if he has got something on his face. She just says she is surprised he could be so gentle with a monster, a rare compliment maybe. Li Fei smugly explains he could sense the monster's emotions, calling it a simple prankster. He then turns to head upstairs, promising to help her beat up the frog that attacked her. She is left a little flustered, realizing he has got this weirdly gentle side even with monsters. With that settled, the trio arrives at the next floor's massive, imposing set of doors. This whole team is on edge, cautiously approaching whatever fresh hell is waiting for them. Inside is a ridiculously long, winding staircase leading up to some ominous glowing orb grate. Turns out the orb is just a forehead gem for a giant meditating frog, the final boss probably. This winged girl immediately identifies it as a king-level demon beast, a 7-colored toad. Without warning, the frog attacks and she has to shove Li Fei out of an explosive blast. This giant amphibian demands to know who dares enter its red gem tower. He is very territorial. She points right back, calling it out as the jerk who shot her with an ice cone earlier. Our new froggy friend just smirks, saying the red gem is super important and they cannot have it. It leaps into the air, announcing the snow lady herself put it on guard duty and they look delicious. From its high perch, the toad looks down on them, ready to strike at any moment. This frog then leaps down, calling on its subjects, which are just a bunch of smaller frogs. With a grand gesture, it tells its little frog army to go capture their prey, very dramatic. These stairs are now lined with mini frogs, all spitting a barrage of ice shards at them. While dodging the ice storm, Cat Guy starts complaining that they went from one monster to a whole clan. Li Fei suggests just breaking out, but Cat Guy points out the obvious: they are completely trapped in here. At that moment, a strange pink, goopy ring flies right past Li Fei's head from behind. That pink ring splatters against the wall, revealing it was just a glob of goo from their old pal, the Mud Child. Cat Guy immediately starts shaking Li Fei, screaming that they are trapped and about to become frog food. Li Fei shoves him aside, declaring that if they cannot run, they will just have to fight their way out. But the winged girl warns him that his ultimate move takes too much of a toll, insisting she should handle this. He shuts her down, saying he will take the first shot and she can back him up if it fails. A solid, terrible plan. Meanwhile, the frog army is getting impatient, basically telling them to hurry up and get eaten already. With no time to waste, Li Fei just leaps down the stairs, charging straight into the amphibious horde. Blue energy swirls around him as he barrels through the crowd, building up for a massive strike. His eyes start glowing as he channels all that power, ready to unleash his new technique. He then unleashes a 13-hit impact combo, a clear upgrade from his last big move. This attack forms a gigantic spectral wolf head that lunges right for the 7-colored toad. It connects with a massive explosion, sending the Frog King flying right off its feet. All the little frog minions just stare in stunned silence, their tiny brains unable to process what just happened. Cat Guy is completely floored, realizing Li Fei's combo is way stronger than before. This winged girl explains this is a new skill he learned while training underground with his partner, Little White. A flashback shows her watching from the stands as Li Fei trained in some kind of arena, and his training partner is revealed to be a tiny, angry-looking white dog who is barking its head off. A huge guy with an even bigger sword stands over a defeated Li Fei, wondering how he is so weak. Our boy is in disbelief, his signature 12-hit punch having been effortlessly blocked. This trainer then lectures him, saying his technique is fine but lacks any real synergy with his beast. His trainer gives him a classic pep talk, reminding him he is not fighting alone. Li Fei looks over at Little White as the lesson sinks in: real strength is fighting as a team. He closes his eyes for a moment, finally understanding what he has been missing. With his tiny beast perched on his head like a hat, Li Fei finally achieves perfect synergy. Meanwhile, another trainee with a red cape shows off his own cooperative technique. A close-up on his fist shows it glowing with the exact same blue energy. This guy unleashes his own version of the attack, channeling some serious power, and out comes another massive spectral wolf head, confirming they all learned this move. Back in the spar, Li Fei unleashes his newly upgraded 13-hit combo on his mentor. This trainer's smug look completely vanishes, realizing this attack is the real deal. He is forced to dodge as a massive wave of blue energy tears right past him. This energy then coalesces into a full-on spirit wolf, showing the move's true potential. This red-caped dude congratulates him, clearly impressed by the successful power-up. He tells Li Fei that once he masters this, he will officially be a top-tier fighter. Back in the present, Cat Guy is having a full-on emo moment about not getting an ultimate move. This inspires him to declare he is going back to the hell training to get his own special attack. Good luck, buddy. This winged girl is having none of it, screaming at him to stop monologuing and help carry Li Fei. Our boy is completely knocked out on the floor, his soul literally leaving his body from the strain. Cat Guy complains that Li Fei stole all the glory but agrees to take over from here, so he just slings the unconscious hero over his shoulder and starts hauling him up the stairs. While hauling Li Fei's dead weight, Cat Guy suddenly starts complaining about the intense heat. That is because the seven-colored toad is rocketing back down the stairs, very much not dead. In fact, it is now completely engulfed in flames, looking like an angry red comet. It lands with a thud, admitting the punch hurt but proudly announcing it is a king-level beast. This toad then puffs out its chest, declaring that as a king it has no weaknesses, total confidence. To prove its point, it unleashes a massive fire breath attack, which is not a normal frog thing. Cat Guy is having a complete meltdown, just screaming why at this biological nightmare. This winged girl explains that king-level toads can master 7 different elements, which is just great. His brilliant new strategy is to just smash the door down and run for their lives, but before they can even move, a massive energy blast slams right into their only exit. A split second later, a sticky tongue whips out and snags Cat Guy mid-sprint. He is now dangling upside down, about to be frog food, screaming for the unconscious Li Fei to wake up. Suddenly, the winged girl flares with golden light, demanding to know why a king is taking orders from the Snow Lady. This gets the toad's attention as it senses a familiar demonic beast aura coming from her. It explains that its species is rare and it is the only one left strong enough to reach the king level. This Snow Lady's potion, it reveals, is the only thing that can strengthen the rest of its clan. Just then, Li Fei wakes up, telling the frog it is making a massive mistake working with her. This toad just looks confused, asking why it should not take a deal that helps its people. He explains that the potion is just a drug that forcibly unlocks potential, just like with the Mud Child. And the price for that power, he warns, is burning away your own life force and sanity. This toad is completely unbothered, saying it has a long life, so who cares about burning a little life force. Li Fei just yells that the frog is missing the entire point. The Snow Lady's potion is a total failure. He explains the drug will just make its clan go insane, eventually wiping them all out for good. This immediately sends the toad into a full-blown panic, screaming about how its family is doomed. This whole team just deadpans, realizing this king-level beast is surprisingly, simple-minded. Trying to save face, the frog backpedals, accusing them of lying to break its promise to the Snow Lady. Seeing an opening, the winged girl steps forward with a very charming smile, proposing a compromise. Our froggy friend is immediately hooked, asking if there is really another way out of this mess. She lays out the terms, they fight, and if they win, they will share any successful research with its clan. Cat Guy whispers that she is totally playing the frog, setting it up for a fight it is guaranteed to lose. But the toad puffs out its chest and accepts the deal, vowing that it will not be defeated so easily. With the agreement made, it immediately switches elements and unleashes a massive torrent of water. This winged girl just plants her foot on the ground, a determined look on her face. Golden energy flares around her as she announces it is time to stop holding back her true power. As the tidal wave crashes down, she activates her ultimate technique, the demon sealing domain. This toad is completely shocked, its magic suddenly vanishing into thin air. It frantically tries to summon its other elements, but absolutely nothing happens. She explains that inside her domain, all magic is useless. It is a pure fistfight now. Then she turns and screams at the boys, threatening to beat them up if they do not get moving. Spurred into action, Li Fei and Cat Guy charge forward, ready for a good old-fashioned brawl. A fiery skull plummets down in a terrifying vision. Inside, Luoyu is falling, screaming that she cannot die before finding her father. As she plummets, she vows that she is going to change everything. Then a massive burst of energy erupts from her, ending the nightmare flashback. Back in the training hall, the guys are stunned, with the trainer admitting he only told her to imagine asterisk it. Luoyu now hovers in the air, her wings wreathed in golden flames as Li Fei calls her name. She collapses to the ground, clutching her head in agony while he tries to snap her out of it. Holding her close, Li Fei demands to know from his mentor what the hell is happening. This trainer explains her special ability is even stronger than Li Fei's. She can completely nullify magic. But Li Fei does not get why her power is causing her so much pain. Her mentor reveals he accidentally triggered a repressed traumatic memory, causing her to lose control. Worse, he warns that using this power forces her to relive that trauma, risking her sanity every single time. He then gently wishes her well, hoping she can stay strong and come back safe. In the present, Luoyu is sweating bullets, yelling that she cannot hold the magic sealing domain much longer. Li Fei tells Cat Guy to shut up and get ready to flank the frog from behind. Our depowered toad tries a tongue lash, thinking eating them will bring its magic back. Solid logic. From the side, Luoyu watches nervously, the strain clearly getting to her. Li Fei just casually sidesteps and grabs the tongue mid-whip, completely unimpressed. This frog gets all huffy, insisting its raw king-level strength is still superior. With a smirk, Li Fei points out the basic physics problem here: you cannot exactly pull yourself in with your own tongue. With a confident smirk, Cat Guy announces he is ready to jump into the fight. He launches himself forward, claws glowing with crackling green energy for a precision strike. A spinning slash connects right with the frog's tongue, slicing into it midair. This poor frog immediately regrets its life choices, its eyes rolling back in pure agony. As the toad gets yanked forward by its own appendage, Li Fei calls out that it is their chance. He then proceeds to wrap the king-level beast up like a giant, slimy burrito using its own tongue. Li Fei powers up his fist, taunting the now helpless frog about how many punches it can take, and then he just unloads a 12-hit combo, turning the amphibian into a suspended punching bag. Meanwhile, Luoya steps forward, holding some kind of elegant white staff. She aims it at the frog, demanding to know what the red orb on the tower is. She is done playing games. This completely terrified frog immediately starts begging for its life, all that kingly pride totally gone. It tearfully admits it only knows the Snow Lady is running experiments, but that is it, a truly useless minion. Having got nothing useful, Luoya just tells it to take its clan and get lost now. Our big, tough frog king just breaks down crying, promising to leave immediately. His minions are already in a full-blown panic, shoving each other to be the first one out the door. This entire frog army then stampedes out, with the king leading the comically undignified retreat. Watching them go, Li Fei notes that trusting these guys with anything important was a terrible decision. Luoya cuts him off, telling them to forget the idiots and head for the top of the tower. But outside, they all stop, sensing a massive, swirling red energy vortex forming in the sky. She points up, realizing that whatever that thing is, it is the source of all the chaos. A completely new winged girl appears, holding the red orb and announcing a plan to take it to Inquater City. But the orb suddenly flares with crackling red energy and she looks completely caught off guard. This thing then rockets straight into the sky, tearing open that same red energy vortex from before. She immediately gives chase, screaming at the runaway orb not to even think about escaping. But the orb fights back, ensnaring her in its own glowing red tendrils mid-flight. This energy overload immediately makes her super dizzy, not exactly a great sign. With her disoriented, the orb makes a clean getaway, blasting off into the sky. Her two teammates on the roof are just standing there, wondering if the mission is somehow complete now. Landing in front of them, she is absolutely furious, yelling that they accomplished nothing but picking a fight. She continues to chew them out, asking if they seriously think their boss will believe their pathetic report. But then she cuts herself off, pointing at something in the distance for them to see. Her finger is aimed directly at a rocky coastline just off the shore. Their intel mentioned 3 possible locations for the red mist outbreak. She explains their boss is handling the city, leaving the southern reef as their next logical target. With a determined look, she vows to figure out exactly what that red orb is. Arriving at the location, they find some strange tracks leading away from the water. This whole team, now with 2 tiny animal companions, investigates the scene, wondering what happened here. Examining some massive claw marks on a boulder, she deduces a huge beast was here but has since left. Meanwhile, the 2 animal sidekicks are having a full-on conversation, which is definitely not weird at all. One of the guys translates, saying the pet sense the red mist has faded and whatever happened is long over. This new white-haired leader steps into the water, declaring that this mission is not over. She refuses to return empty-handed, absolutely certain there are still clues left on this reef. Then she pauses, a sudden realization dawning on her as she looks out at the ocean. Crouching down with her bird companion, she puts the pieces together. She announces her theory: the creatures they were tracking must have fled into an underwater cave. Her 2 teammates immediately object, sheepishly admitting that neither of them can swim, a minor operational flaw. With zero patience for excuses, she just kicks them both into the water, yelling at them to hurry up. And so the entire team begins their aquatic infiltration by unceremoniously plummeting into the depths. Deep below, we meet a new guy in a red cape who is staring up at a colossal dark shape. This team swims right past him, completely oblivious to his presence in the murky water. Suddenly, a high-speed projectile zips through the water, narrowly missing them all. This red-caped guy gets caught in a violent current, getting dragged away against his will. He surfaces with the others inside a grotto, completely disoriented and asking where the hell they are. They have found their destination, a massive, hidden cavern deep beneath the waves. This wolf-eared guy just gawks at the towering rock formations around them. Red Cape speculates that this must be the gathering place for those giant amphibious creatures, but his instincts suddenly flare, sensing an immediate and very dangerous threat nearby. He shoves everyone down, signaling for them to take cover and stay quiet. A moment later, a gigantic serrated blade slams down right where they were standing. Peeking over the rocks, the team is horrified as the leader recognizes a name: Carias. This scarred fighter locks weapons with Carias, demanding to know why he is so far from his usual turf. With a smug look, Carias claims he is just following orders to capture the rock phantom turtles, that is it. From his hiding spot, Red Cape puts it together. This entire cavern is the rock phantom turtle's lair. Since Carias will not talk, the scarred fighter just kicks him away, ready to force the answers out of him. Done with the pleasantries, he launches himself forward for a full-on assault, but Carias just parries the blow with his chainsaw, looking completely unfazed by the charge. This scarred fighter's staff bends under the pressure, showing the sheer force Carias is putting behind that thing. Carias mocks him, acknowledging he is a top-tier fighter but questioning the weakened state of his body. With a cocky grin, he asks just how long his opponent can possibly keep this up. This scarred fighter gives him one final chance to talk, offering to let him walk away if he spills the beans. Watching from the sidelines, the white-haired leader is stunned, wondering how Carias even got injured in the first place. Carias just scoffs, completely dismissing the threat as nothing more than an empty bluff. He revs up his chainsaw for another swing, taunting his opponent for thinking he could be so easily intimidated. In a flash, the scarred fighter unleashes a massive crimson energy wave, screaming for his enemy to die. This attack creates a swirling red vortex, trapping Karyas as the fighter reveals his title is the Destroyer. He boasts that he leaves nothing but ruin in his wake, and Karyas will be no exception. With rocks raining down into the vortex, he vows to shatter Karyas into a million pieces. His polearm then morphs into a wicked-looking chain scythe, preparing for the finishing blow. He then whips the chain scythe directly into the heart of the swirling crimson vortex. But from inside the chaos, Karyas' voice taunts him, asking where he is even aiming his attack. From inside the crimson tornado, Karyas' voice echoes out, basically asking if he is even trying to hit him. But the chain suddenly tightens, yanking a completely bound Karyas out of the vortex. Surprise. This destroyer's scythe is now lodged firmly in the cavern floor, acting as an anchor. Using the chain, he starts swinging his captive around like a human wrecking ball, which is just brutal. This destroyer declares that Karyas missed his final chance to talk, so now he gets to sleep forever. He continues to build momentum, spinning the guy around for a truly devastating throw. Then with a final heave, he just slams Karyas face first into the unforgiving rock floor. This impact is so intense it sends Karyas' chainsaw weapon flying off into the darkness. Landing gracefully, the destroyer watches the smoking crater where his opponent now resides. He then casually picks up his scythe, ready to deliver the final blow to his downed enemy. Suddenly, Karyas' own weapon comes flying back like a boomerang, aimed right at him. This destroyer now stands between the fallen Karyas and the incoming chainsaw blade. With a furious roar, he prepares to intercept the attack, yelling for his opponent to die. Karyas, still on the ground, is absolutely freaking out, realizing he cannot stop his own weapon. A massive explosion of light and energy erupts as the two forces collide in the cavern. Watching from behind their rock, the team is stunned, wondering if that incredible battle is finally over. Through the settling dust, a lone silhouette emerges from the smoke. This destroyer stands victorious, clutching his chest but looking otherwise unharmed after that clash. Leaning on his weapon, he tells the spectators that it is safe to come out now. Red Cape immediately pops up, demanding answers about his injuries and the situation in Inquater City. Cake, the destroyer, tells them to back off, claiming this is none of their business while he heals Karyas. Suddenly, a tiny mouse king in a cape appears, ordering everyone to guard the grotto until Karyas recovers. Red Cape's crew is completely baffled by this, with the wolf-eared guy trying to explain they are here to help. But the mouse king just starts bragging, claiming he was holding back his true power to avoid hurting them. Cake tells him to knock it off, but the mouse snaps back, blaming a comrade for Cake's current injuries. Ignoring the bickering, Cake just vows that he is going to find her and demand some answers. Red Cape finally cuts in, trying to get a straight answer about what the hell is happening here. Now clinging to his leg, the Mouse King explains they fought a beast in Inquater City and a red orb escaped. He continues, saying they knew the orb was important and followed its energy signature to this reef. Turns out a similar orb had already appeared here, causing the rock phantom turtles to retreat into this cave. And that is when they ran into Karyas' mercenary group, who were also suspiciously interested in the turtles. Red Cape immediately asks why these mercenaries would be working with the Phantom Association. This mouse reveals they are the infamous Raging Wind mercenaries, led by the legendary Tempest God. While Red Cape looks concerned, the mouse insists that once Karyas is healed, they can handle everything. But just then, a fist punches right out of the crater. Karyas is absolutely not done yet. He pulls himself up, chainsaw in hand, furious that the mouse dared to underestimate his captain's power. Karyas powers up, screaming that their leader is a god and they are all just insects to be crushed. This Mouse King starts sweating, realizing Cake is one of the Tempest God's top 3 generals. Red Cape's team braces for a fight, sensing Karyas' aura is way beyond any king-level beast. This angel girl notes that a battle is unavoidable, but hey, at least the guy's already injured. This tiny Mouse King desperately clings to Cake, begging him not to be impulsive. He warns the others that Cake is a true saint-level threat and only he and Karyas could possibly stop him. Realizing he will have to force Karyas to power up, the mouse suddenly notices something is very, very wrong. And by wrong, he means Karyas is completely passed out, snoring with a snot bubble, peak combat readiness. With a mighty slap, the Mouse King wakes his partner up, prompting the angel girl to comment on his unique leadership style. Karyas is still totally dazed, leaving the Mouse King to rage about how utterly useless he is in a crisis. But the angel girl immediately calls his bluff, asking why he does not step up if he is supposedly saint level 2. He gets all defensive, pointing to his wound and claiming he can only fight at full power when fused with his beast, a likely story. Without Karyas, he admits that in his injured state, he's got absolutely no shot against that monster. Resigned, the Mouse King decides there is only one move left he can possibly try. And with that, the tiny rodent charges headfirst at the hulking, shirtless brawler. He continues his mad dash, a blur of regal fury and extremely questionable life choices. But the angel girl swoops in front, declaring she will not retreat just because their opponent is an injured saint. Unleashing golden energy whips, she prepares to bind Cake in a forbidden magic domain. Cake, who for some reason is now wearing sunglasses, looks completely baffled by this attack, but the energy hits and instead of binding him, it reverts his weapon back into a giant fish. Completely disarmed, Cake just stands there wondering why his transformation was suddenly undone. That is Red Cape's cue to jump in, surrounded by a vortex of blue energy and ready to strike. Cake's cool guy sunglasses cannot hide his panic as he realizes he is in very deep trouble, and Red Cape unleashes a 13-hit combo, slamming his fist directly into Cake's chest. Red Cape's 13-hit combo sends Cake flying backward, shattering the cavern floor with the sheer force. But our boy is completely stunned, realizing his ultimate attack did absolutely nothing. Cake just smirks behind his shades, sarcastically complimenting the terrifying power that did not even scratch him. He lands without a single issue, looking completely unfazed by the full-force assault. Then he smugly admits that if he had not reacted, he'd be a puddle on the floor. What a humble guy. Red Cape lands and demands to know how the hell he managed to block that punch. Cake explains that saint-level illusionists can use their own bodies to redirect energy. He basically created an invisible pipe to channel the entire attack harmlessly into the ground. Against a saint, he lectures brute force is meaningless. It is all about timing and skill. And with a final point, he calls Red Cape and his entire team utterly useless just to rub it in. Taking that a little personally, the wolf-eared guy charges in for his own attack. He throws a punch at a giant white snake beast, which just yawns and asks if he is done yet. His fist just bounces right off, leaving him stunned by how impossibly tough the creature is. This angel girl despairs, realizing the gap between them and a true saint is just too massive to overcome. Suddenly, she clutches her head, overcome by a wave of intense pain. Her eyes go hazy as she seems to lose consciousness in midair. Red Cape screams out her name, Luoya, as she starts plummeting toward the ground. He immediately dashes forward, trying to catch her before she hits the rocks. Catching her safely in his arms, he looks down with obvious concern. Cake finally puts it together. It was her who broke his weapon transformation earlier. Cake actually compliments her magic, noting that since he and his snake are pure strength, they were a bad matchup for her. He smirks behind his shades, saying their little trick almost worked, but playtime is officially over. A massive arm swings down, and Red Cape can only look up in horror while protecting Luoya. This guy unleashes a massive sweeping blow, clearly not holding back against the already beaten team. His single strike sends the entire crew flying backward like a bunch of bowling pins. Cake's giant snake beast mocks the mouse, saying it is tired of living and ready to be a snack. Down but not out, the Mouse King insists they cannot possibly grasp his true power while the domain's energy is still active. His eyes start glowing with fiery energy as he vows to show them his true strength. He then spins into a dark, chaotic vortex, looking like a furry little hurricane of rage. Even Cake looks a bit concerned, admitting this all-or-nothing attack might actually be a problem. Mid-power-up, the Mouse King orders the wolf-eared guy to run for his life on his signal. A colossal shadow version of the mouse looms over him as he calls upon the black mist. Then with a final, desperate scream, he gives the order, run. And his ultimate attack turns out to be a smokescreen, which he claims boosts their escape speed. He looks back smugly, confident that the two unfused opponents have no chance of catching them now. Left behind in the smoke, Cake is absolutely furious that he got outsmarted by a tiny rodent. He immediately orders his giant snake beast to chase them down. This is not over yet. Hopping aboard, he rides his personal snake mobile in hot pursuit of the escaping crew. But the wolf-eared guy looks back in sheer panic, screaming that Cake is already catching up. And the Mouse King, while being carried, has the nerve to complain that if it were not for all this dead weight, he'd be long gone. Red Cape is not impressed, calling out the Mouse King's terrible escape plan while holding Luoya. Their brilliant getaway immediately hits a dead end, with the wolf-eared guy panicking that they are trapped. But the Mouse King, a true leader, just yells at him to charge straight into the wall. It'll be fine, probably. With no other choice, they steel themselves for a high-speed collision with solid rock. This whole team sprints forward, committing fully to this incredibly questionable strategy. And they actually phase right through the wall, ending up in a narrow, hidden corridor. Finally catching their breath, the Mouse King boasts about losing their pursuer while the crew looks around, confused. A voice suddenly welcomes them from a dark pit in the floor, which is never a good sign. At that moment, Luoya finally starts to stir, slowly regaining consciousness in Red Cape's arms. A massive, spiky-shelled turtle then emerges, formally introducing them to the rock phantom turtle's territory. Red Cape just stares up in awe, commenting on the absolutely gigantic turtle that is now greeting them. This Mouse King immediately starts an argument, blaming the turtle for not helping while he was fighting Carias. He continues his rant, claiming if he had not sensed them hiding, he would have dealt with them too, a likely story. Then he has the nerve to order the Turtle Clan to go outside and take care of Cake for them. But the turtle apologizes, admitting his clan is now too weak to fight a saint-level master. This revelation completely shocks the Mouse King, who demands to know how the legendary clan fell so far. With a heavy heart, the turtle begins his tale, explaining it all started 10 years ago. He recounts how young turtles began disappearing, forcing the entire clan to go into hiding. Things got worse when the chief's own son vanished, only to return as a mind-controlled weapon, firing a massive energy beam. And riding him was another of the Raging Wind's top captains, a man named Augustus. This turtle explains the mind-controlled son's attack was so powerful it even wounded the clan chief. In the chaos, the entire clan tried to flee but were all captured by the mercenaries, and the one leading the charge was none other than the leader of the Raging Wind mercenaries herself. This Tempest God is a woman who created a drug to turn them into living weapons by burning their life force. She saw them as nothing but disposable tools, forcing the clan chief to make a desperate, last-ditch decision. He and the chief stormed the lab, deciding to swallow all the power-up drugs to keep them from the enemy. But the chief took most of the dose, using sheer willpower to stay lucid just long enough for an escape. After leading them to freedom, the chief went completely feral, while this turtle kept his mind but was permanently changed. So now he is the one in charge, trying to hold what is left of his broken clan together. Just then, a tiny turtle swims right up to Red Cape, who is completely baffled by the little guy. This little turtle opens its mouth wide, looking like it is about to say hello or something. And by hello, I mean it clamps down right on his leg, a surprisingly painful welcome wagon. His teammates are not amused, telling him to quit messing around while he is being assaulted by a reptile. Turns out that is just their way of showing friendship, which is a very aggressive love language. This big turtle confirms it, noting that his clan seems to have taken a real liking to them. Red Cape is now stuck with a turtle in his lap, awkwardly telling everyone to check out what is behind them, and behind them is a literal mountain of turtles, all staring at them with great interest. This turtle laments that only the young are left, but the Mouse King cuts him off, telling him to focus. He connects the dots, revealing they also fought a beast in Inquater City controlled by the same red drug, a nation-level threat. With the raging wind surely coming for them, the Mouse King insists they have no choice but to team up. This Mouse King immediately starts bossing the turtle around, demanding their treasure to power up the team. Completely blindsided, the turtle chief just stares, clearly not expecting to be shaken down for loot. Meanwhile, outside the hideout, Cake's snake beast senses the magic domain weakening. Their time is up. Cake smirks, telling his partner they will be able to refuse and unleash their true power any second now. A surge of yellow energy swirls around his arm as he begins to reform his weapon, and it transforms back into a massive chainsaw because subtlety was never really his thing. Yelling for the stinky mouse, he swings his new appendage right at the rock wall they escaped through. This chainsaw carves through the stone, blasting a hole straight into their hidden passage. But after breaking in, Cake looks around, a little surprised by what he sees. He finds himself in the same corridor, but it is completely empty, just a dead end. With a confident grin, he vows to find out just how many secret doors they have left to hide behind. This turtle chief calmly explains to the crew that his clan has a contract for rapid healing. But the Mouse King is still panicking, demanding they open the treasure vault to fix Carias before Cake arrives. This turtle sadly clarifies that the vault requires either royal blood or saint-level power to open, both of which they lack. Absolutely losing it, the Mouse King asks if their only option is to sit here and wait to die. With no other choice, the turtle reveals a secret escape route he will force open, but he has one final request. He asks them to take all the young turtles and flee, a responsibility the crew is now literally buried under. This Mouse King is stunned, asking what the turtle chief plans to do while they are running for their lives. He grimly states that he failed to protect his clan and that he deserves to die for it. Turning to face the entrance, the turtle says it will be an honor to fall to a saint, ready to make his last stand. But the Mouse King is not having any of this noble sacrifice nonsense, flaring up his own dark power. His magic forms a giant, shadowy net that spreads out over the entire pile of young turtles. This shadowy net then scoops up the entire turtle nursery, bundling them all into one convenient package. With the turtle tots secured, the Mouse King tells Red Cape it is officially time to bounce. But our boy Red Cape suddenly yells for them to wait, a last-minute idea finally clicking into place. He explains to the turtle chief that on his way here he met a dying member of their clan, and that dying turtle gave him a little parting gift, a small, glowing green orb. This turtle chief is absolutely floored, crying out that the heavens have not abandoned them after all. He looks at Red Cape, who is holding the key to their survival, and declares him the clan's great benefactor. Our boy, meanwhile, is completely lost, asking what he did to deserve the title, classic hero cluelessness. This chief explains that orb was made from the last of the young chief's power, and it can open their treasure vault. With the vault open, he continues, they can use the resources inside to rebuild and grow strong again. This Mouse King, never one for sentimental pauses, immediately orders them to open the vault and heal Carias, but the turtle chief still seems hesitant, starting to say but, as the team looks on. That is the last straw for the Mouse King, who gets right in the turtle's face and tells him to quit dawdling. Finally giving in, the turtle chief agrees to lead them, lamenting that his clan cannot escape its destiny. He leads them to the edge of a dark pit, telling them to look down into the crimson liquid below. Floating in that red pool are the skeletal remains of several creatures, definitely not a health spa. This liquid itself looks disturbingly organic, like a pool of churning flesh and blood, and bursting from the pool is a monstrous red-fleshed beast, chained and screaming that it is going to eat them all. This Mouse King is absolutely floored, realizing this chained monster is the actual Turtle Clan chief. After the drugs took over, the chief went completely feral, developing an insatiable, bloodthirsty hunger. His own clan had to chain him here after he devoured nearly all life in their waters, a grim family secret. Suddenly, the feral chief seems to recognize the Mouse King, calling out to him from the pit. He then makes a tempting offer, kill his friend, set him free, and they will be best buds forever. But the Mouse King shuts him down, declaring he'd never betray a friend and that the chief's mind is corrupted. This rejection sends the monster into a rage, screaming that he is just going to eat them all instead. Completely stumped, the Mouse King turns to his turtle buddy and asks what the heck they are supposed to do now. This turtle chief reveals a clan secret in a crisis. The royal family can use a special pearl to open their treasure vault. And the lock for that vault is conveniently located on the feral chief's chains, because of course it is. Never one to overthink things, the Mouse King immediately gets hyped, asking what they are waiting for. His grand plan is to just beat up the crazy turtle and force the vault open, problem solved. This turtle chief tries to warn him that it is not quite that simple, but he is not listening. With zero patience, the Mouse King tells him to stop worrying and just start fighting already. He charges in, confident he can handle a half-dead turtle since he could not beat a saint-level master. A massive surge of red lightning erupts from the pool, stopping his charge dead in its tracks. Blasted backward, the Mouse King looks completely baffled by the sudden energy shield. This turtle chief explains that only someone qualified who passes a test can actually enter the vault. He then turns to Red Cape, stating that since the chief is the only one left, he will have to face him alone. Our boy points to himself in disbelief, as the turtle confirms he is the one who has to take the test. This Mouse King completely loses it, yelling that Red Cape is nuts for wanting to fight a saint-level chief. But the turtle chief is dead serious, explaining that to open the vault, he has to defeat the feral chief alone. He does offer a sliver of hope, though the chief is weakened, hungry, and his mind is completely gone. Suddenly playing the responsible one, the Mouse King grabs Red Cape, insisting this suicide mission is off. He is all in on bailing now, telling our boy to forget the vault and just focus on getting out alive. This rest of the team agrees, with Luoya pleading for them to leave before Cake breaks in and finds them. She even puts a hand on his shoulder, trying to get through to him. With a look of genuine concern, she hopes he will listen to reason for once in his life. But our boy just turns with a confident smirk, telling them all he wants to give it a try. This sends Luoya into a full-blown panic, shaking him and screaming that the guild is not worth his life. He is completely flustered by her reaction, trying to get a word in while she is having a meltdown. He then explains to the whole crew that he really, genuinely likes being part of the Phantom Association. Then comes the backstory monologue. He always wanted to be a hero but ended up a corporate drone instead. But joining their guild, he explains, has finally given him a chance to feel like he is doing something heroic. With new resolve, he declares that helping people is bringing him closer to the hero he always wanted to be. He lays out his logic with a smile. The turtles are their friends, and this could be a chance to uncover the enemy's plans. This speech totally wins over the turtle chief, who promises that the clan will be his friend forever, no matter the outcome. With everyone's blessing, sort of, Red Cape gives a confident salute and declares he is going in, and with zero hesitation, he takes a flying leap right down into the pit toward the monster. This wolf-eared guy asks Luoya if she's just gonna let him go, but she just looks down, completely conflicted. Luoya is haunted by a memory of a dark, winged being who called heroes pathetic and wished for their deaths. But she clenches her fist, desperately hoping Red Cape makes it out of this alive. This Mouse King just smirks, thinking the kid's chaotic sense of justice is about to make the guild a lot more fun. Suddenly, a series of massive impacts rocks the cavern, coming from the wall they just sealed, and Cake smashes through, chainsaw arm leading the way, yelling that their game of hide-and-seek is over. This wolf-eared guy is stunned, calling him a persistent jerk who just will not stay down. Stepping forward, the Mouse King declares that with his juniors watching, it is time to get serious. He proposes a tag team with the Turtle Chief to take Cake down, and the turtle is more than happy to agree. Cake just laughs maniacally and charges, vowing to grind them all into dust. But the Mouse King leaps to intercept, claws out and ready to parry the massive weapon. Cake's chainsaw glows with a sinister red aura as he swings it down with full force. Seeing his opening, the Mouse King gives the signal, yelling that now is their chance. From behind, the Turtle Chief unleashes a spinning vortex of electrified energy right at Cake's back. This blast slams into the chainsaw, creating a massive explosion of red lightning that engulfs them all. Their combined attack forms a huge, swirling ball of pure destructive power. As the smoke clears, the Mouse King and the turtle stand together, their pincer attack seemingly a success. Cake, however, is still standing, looking completely unimpressed as he asks if that is all they have got. His smug expression falters for just a second, a flicker of surprise in his eyes, because a massive crack just spiderwebbed right across the blade of his chainsaw arm. He looks down in shock, asking his snake beast if it is okay. Their ultimate weapon is damaged. Cake stares down at his snake beast, the chainsaw form now completely shattered from their attack. He is totally baffled, asking how their piddly little combo could have possibly broken his ultimate weapon. His snake partner weakly tells him to run, feeling its power draining away fast. Something is very wrong here. Taking a sniff, Cake suddenly realizes there is a strange, dark energy floating in the air. Then his own body starts to feel off, a sudden and overwhelming weakness hitting him hard. Gasping for air, he demands to know what the stinky mouse did to him. With a smug grin, the Mouse King explains that mice are not brawlers. Their true power is disease. Cake drops to his knees, coughing and completely blindsided by the mention of sickness. This Mouse King goes full history teacher mode, reminding him of a time before humans could fight the plague. A grim flashback shows how the original plague once wiped out 3/4 of the continent's population. Eventually, humans developed powers and fought back, becoming the dominant species on the continent. But the Mouse King clarifies they only beat the regular plague, not his special blend. Turns out Cake inhaled a custom-brewed super plague cultivated by the Mouse King himself. In total denial, Cake yells that he feels fine and asks when he could have possibly been infected. This little monarch reveals it happened way back when Cake was chasing them through the tunnels. His dark mist was a mobile plague factory, and Cake breathed it all in when he was weakened. Checkmate. Despite the diagnosis, Cake just laughs, admitting the plague is impressive, but it is not nearly enough to take him down as he starts powering up with a defiant roar. A massive wave of fiery energy erupts from his body, blasting everything around him. This Mouse King is stunned, realizing Cake is burning his own life force to fight, a total suicide move. Cake's basically using his own energy to build an internal firewall, quarantining his organs from the plague. And the Mouse King is just stunned because this suicide move somehow made Cake even stronger than before. Luoya is completely losing it, screaming that he is nuts and his body is about to collapse from the strain. She explains he is a total fanatic for his boss, willing to die for the mission without a single regret. With his claws out, the Mouse King realizes this guy is dead serious about taking them all down with him. Cake, on the other hand, is loving the power high, grinning that it is time for round one. Meanwhile, back in the pit, a sharp spike of red liquid suddenly bursts from the surface, where our boy Red Cape is flailing around like a drowning cat, yelling that he cannot swim. He finally manages to find his footing, planting a boot right on the surface of the weird red goo. Catching his breath, he is just glad he figured out how to use his power to stand on the liquid. This feral chief looms over him, asking if the clan sent him as a test subject or just an appetizer, but Red Cape just gets into a fighting stance, saying all that matters is beating him to open the vault. This just makes the monster laugh, wondering what gives a pipsqueak the nerve to challenge a saint-level beast. Our boy is completely unfazed, though determined to give it a shot no matter what. With a confident "here I come," he dashes across the surface of the pool, straight at the chief. This feral chief just smirks, thinking this kid's an absolute idiot for even trying. As he runs, the liquid beneath his feet starts to form into strange, solid-looking orbs, then massive red tendrils shoot out of the pool, trapping him in a cage of pure energy. This chief gloats that his clan controls water and earth, fighting him here is a death wish. Caught in the energy field, Red Cape realizes he is completely out of his depth in this arena. Our boy quickly realizes the red gunk holding him is actually corrosive. With a creepy grin, the feral chief explains this is exactly how he eats his dinner. His whole gimmick is trapping things in water and just slurping out all their life force. He explains that once the essence dissolves, it is a delicacy, and our boy is next on the menu. This chief then makes a generous offer to just stop fighting and become food, promising it will not even hurt. But Red Cape is having none of it, totally disgusted by the slimy, electrified tendrils. Dodging the attacks, he realizes he cannot even get close enough to land a single punch on the guy. Suddenly, a mysterious voice pipes up, telling him the weak point is asterisk under the water, leaving him totally confused. Turns out it is the actual asterisk chief's consciousness, who has managed to hold onto a tiny sliver of sanity. This real chief's spirit urges him to dive down and attack the weak spot. It is his only shot. But then the voice just vanishes, leaving our boy wondering if he should trust a ghost in the machine. He is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Diving could be a trap, but staying up here is certain death. This hesitation just pisses off the monster, who starts yelling at him for looking down on him. With a roar, the feral chief unleashes another flurry of liquid tendrils, vowing to tear him to shreds. Those tendrils then form a massive, toothy maw of pure energy lunging right for him. Our boy is completely outmatched, realizing he cannot even get within striking distance of a saint-level beast. This monster then launches a whole barrage of liquid bullets, turning the entire pool into a kill zone. He barely dodges a massive sphere of the corrosive goo as it flies past, which then explodes behind him with some serious force. And he is already at his limit, admitting the attacks are just too fast to keep dodging forever. With no other choice, our boy decides to trust the ghost voice and dives straight into the water. And with a massive splash, he plunges deep into the corrosive red liquid. This feral chief just scoffs, calling him naive for thinking he can escape in the monster's home turf. He then summons a massive water dragon, ordering it to chase our boy down and rip him to shreds. That liquid serpent immediately dives into the pool, hot on Red Cape's tail. Underwater, our hero looks around, trying to find the weak spot the voice mentioned. Suddenly, he spots a faint glow in the murky depths ahead. It is a massive, crystalline spike embedded deep in the flesh at the bottom of the pool. This real chief's voice explains that spike is what is controlling him, and the only way to break the curse is to push it asterisk deeper into his body. Red Cape is understandably a little confused. The solution is to stab the guy more, but with no better ideas, he grits his teeth and decides to give this insane plan a shot. Winding up, he unleashes a 12-hit combo punch, channeling a vortex of blue energy. This blast slams directly into the base of the crystal, sending shockwaves through the water. Up on the surface, the feral chief screams in agony as the attack hits its mark. And now he is absolutely furious, vowing to tear the kid apart for real this time. Down below, Red Cape realizes he cannot use his full power underwater, and pushing the spike in will drain him completely. A look of pure determination flashes in his eyes. He is going all in. Meanwhile, the chief's water dragon forms a massive energy ball, preparing a final, devastating attack. It fires a colossal beam of pure destructive energy right at him, and our boy gets absolutely blasted, screaming as the attack engulfs him completely. Underwater, our boy knows he is way too slow to actually fight this massive water dragon, but then a truly brilliant 5-star idea pops into his head. He gives the giant monster the finger, which is definitely a strategy. This predictably makes the water dragon absolutely furious. It lunges forward with its mouth wide open, ready to turn him into a snack. But Red Cape dodges, luring the beast deeper into the pool just like he planned. This kid becomes the bait, leading the enraged dragon straight toward the crystal spike. With a defiant yell, he dares it to follow him all the way down. He positions himself right in front of the target, getting ready for the big finale, which causes the feral chief to scream as his own water dragon slams headfirst into the cursed spike. Our boy's insane plan was to use the monster's own attack to push the spike in a final, desperate gambit. A triumphant grin spreads across his face. The crazy plan actually worked. Up on the surface, the feral chief is absolutely losing his mind in agony. Then a second gray head emerges from the shell, confronting the red one. It is the real chief's spirit, and he is not dead. An internal argument kicks off, with the real chief demanding his body back from the parasite that stole it. But the feral chief's power is too strong, and the real chief's spirit starts to get pushed back. Meanwhile, Red Cape finally surfaces, just happy to be breathing air instead of corrosive goo. This two-headed power struggle gets ugly, with both sides vowing to bite the other one to death for control. This real chief's spirit then turns to Red Cape, offering to open the vault if he helps smash the other head. Our boy is completely baffled, pointing at himself like, "Me, dude, I am injured and you are currently losing this fight." This real chief's spirit makes a deal: kill the evil head, get the treasure, and Red Cape is totally on board. But the feral chief is not having it, blasting Red Cape with some kind of paralyzing saint-level turtle eye attack. Our boy immediately gets locked in place, completely unable to move a muscle. With Red Cape paralyzed, the feral chief gloats that victory is his for the taking. It even tries to make its own deal, promising to open the vault if Red Cape helps asterisk it instead, a classic villain pitch. Still completely paralyzed, our boy is running out of options fast. Meanwhile, the internal power struggle continues, with the feral parasite trying to fully absorb the real chief. But the real chief's spirit is not giving up, warning the parasite that it is seriously underestimating their guest. And he is right, because Red Cape starts forcing his body to move, flaring up his aura against the paralysis. He is pushing through the mind control with sheer teeth-gritting willpower. With a massive roar, he shatters the psychic hold, his own energy exploding outwards. Not wasting a single second, he launches himself straight at the two-headed beast. Winding up a punch, he channels that familiar blue energy for a knockout blow. This feral chief is almost impressed, calling his power-up cute but ultimately useless. It then shoots out more of those corrosive tendrils to snatch him right out of the air. This monster gloats that he is dead meat now since he cannot dodge while trapped in midair, but our boy just gives him a smug grin saying, "Oh, I do not know about that." Then he summons his secret weapon, a tiny, ferocious-looking white spirit wolf. That little wolf lands right on the feral chief's face, who seems totally confused by this new development. And immediately the spirit beast sinks its teeth right into the monster's head, a perfect distraction. This little wolf sinks its teeth deep into the monster's face, stretching it out like taffy. This feral chief is absolutely screaming bloody murder, vowing to eat them both for this. And Red Cape uses the distraction to plant his foot right on the guy's head. Our boy stands there, telling the screaming parasite to just shut up and die already. Then his little spirit wolf floats down like a conquering hero, all sparkly and adorable. He scoops up his furry little weapon, promising it a feast for a job well done. But then his eyes widen as he notices something's changed in the arena. This entire corrosive blood pool has suddenly turned into crystal clear water. Turns out the real chief's spirit was faking weakness to separate from the parasite, calling Red Cape a genius for the assist. He thanks them for the help, explaining he has finally regained his sanity and control. So Red Cape immediately asks if he can help him take down that psycho cake. But the chief says he is on his last legs and can only manage to open the vault, not fight another saint. With a deep breath, the chief gathers the last of his remaining energy for the task. He then lets out a massive roar, unleashing a wave of pure power. A glowing green orb emerges from Red Cape's chest, ready to act as the key. It fires a concentrated beam of energy straight across the water, which slams directly into a golden lock mechanism on the vault door. This ancient lock clicks and turns, activating the entrance. And with a rumble, the massive stone doors to the treasure vault finally begin to open. Red Cape just watches, his expression dead serious, knowing the real fight is still ahead. Inside the vault, it is an underwater paradise of pearls, coral, and shiny treasure. Our boy and his wolf step into a room filled with generations of the Turtle Clan's riches. Red Cape is pretty blown away by the sheer bling on display, a real hoarder's dream. His attention is then drawn to a giant weeping stone turtle statue, which is a weird centerpiece. And it is not just one, it is a whole graveyard of incredibly sad-looking stone turtles. This chief explains this is where his kind come to die, crying out their life force into a single tear. After that final tear, they turn to stone, which is a pretty grim retirement plan. Our boy wonders what the point of this whole bizarre life cycle even is. This pool of tears, the chief says, can awaken their bloodline, but it is a last-ditch effort they avoid using. For his help, Red Cape is offered his pick of any treasure in the vault, a pretty sweet reward. But he cuts right to the chase. He needs a power-up, not a souvenir, because a saint is hunting him. This chief warns him that some of the best stuff is turtle-specific and totally useless for a human. Meanwhile, his little spirit wolf has wandered off to the super-concentrated pool of life force tears. and it just starts lapping up the water like it is a normal Tuesday, no hesitation at all. This little guy is even playing in it, having the time of its life in the magical turtle juice. This chief is floored, realizing the wolf is absorbing the tears and getting stronger with every sip. He is completely baffled since this stuff should make any non-turtle explode, but the wolf is fine. Seeing this, Red Cape decides if his pet can handle it, he is going to try it too. This chief gives him a final warning to bail if it feels wrong as our boy strips down to get in. With a confident grin, he promises he will be fine, ready to soak in some forbidden power. He wades right into the pool of concentrated life force tears, ready to take the plunge. This moment he is in, the immense power surges through his body and it does not look pleasant. With a massive scream, he starts absorbing the energy, which looks like it is trying to tear him apart from the inside. This chief immediately panics, yelling that this is way too much for a human and he needs to get out now. But our boy just goes full chibai mode, sighing about how comfortable it is, a total 180 from the screaming. This gives the chief a full-on aneurysm, who yells at him not to make such a misleading face, dude. Suddenly, a massive tremor shakes the entire vault, signaling that their quiet time is officially over. This chief realizes their time is up, that psycho saint Cake has finally arrived at their doorstep. Outside, Cake is absolutely losing it, demanding the turtles come out and face him. He starts wailing on a giant turtle shell, calling them cowards for hiding from him. Turns out a rat king and an angel-winged woman are trying to hold him off, with the rat gloating about some plague he used. But his confidence evaporates when he realizes Cake is just shrugging off his plague like it is nothing. This angel-winged woman is not giving up, vowing to find an opening and strike him down herself. Her cat-eared companion grabs her arm, begging her not to be reckless since they cannot afford to lose her. She gives him a death glare for questioning her, and he immediately drops to his knees to apologize. Yikes. This rat king notes her insane durability, realizing he cannot let her throw her life away on a rash attack. He steps in, telling everyone to just chill out and wait for his super special plague to do its job. Cake just scoffs from behind the giant shell, asking if they are seriously pinning their hopes on that. With a smug grin, he tells them they never had a chance to begin with, and then he winds up and punches the spiky shell with everything he has got. Cake gets blasted backward from the impact, his face momentarily turning into a Picasso painting. He lands on his feet, looking down at the black, plague-infested gunk he just coughed onto the ground. With blood trickling down his chin, he just laughs, telling the Rat King his little poison was useless. Then he powers up with a massive roar, declaring that his full strength has returned, which is terrible news. This Rat King is absolutely stunned, realizing Cake just used his own energy to cut out his infected organs. This dude literally sacrificed 10 years of his life to do it, and the Rat King calls him a certified madman. But Cake thinks it is a bargain, saying a decade is nothing compared to dying from some rodent's plague. Fully charged, he screams for them all to die and launches himself at the giant turtle shell. He smashes into it with a punch that creates a blinding flash of golden light. Even Cake is impressed, complimenting them on how ridiculously durable their turtle shell is. Bouncing back, he gets ready for another round, still admiring their defensive capabilities. Then he starts wailing on the shell with a flurry of punches, asking how long they can hide in there. This Rat King watches nervously from behind cover, asking his turtle pal if he can handle the beating. From inside the shell, the turtle snaps back, telling him to come take a few punches if he is so curious. This Rat King quickly changes the subject, asking if there is a cure for Cake in the vault he saw open. But the turtle has no idea, saying they will only know what Red Cape finds when he finally comes out. Getting desperate, the Rat King begs for our boy to hurry up before they are all turned into paste. Meanwhile, Red Cape is still soaking in the life force pool, enjoying his little power-up spa day. His eyes are closed, but he is clearly sensing the absolute beatdown happening just outside the vault. With a jolt, he realizes his allies are about to be wiped out and that his quiet time is officially over. This chief is freaking out, telling Red Cape he is insane for wanting to leave before the power-up is complete. But our boy is feeling his oats, convinced he has got enough juice to take on Cake right now. His turtle host immediately shuts that down, saying it is just a power high, he is still nowhere near saint level. He explains he is too spent to fight, so he absolutely will not let their last hope die a pointless death. So Red Cape clarifies the deal. If he hits his absolute limit, the chief will let him out to fight. With that settled, he decides there is no other way and calls on his little spirit wolf for a boost. Now in full armor, he declares he will just have to accelerate the whole absorption process himself. This has the chief absolutely losing it, screaming that he will explode from absorbing thousands of years of power so fast. Our boy, however, has no time for safety warnings, insisting through gritted teeth that he can take it. He is clearly in agony, pushing through the immense pressure while trying to convince himself he will not pop. This chief is sweating bullets, wondering if it is even possible. Then he realizes the spirit wolf is the real game changer. Turns out the wolf is a universal energy converter, breaking down the turtle power so he can absorb it safely. In a flash, the entire pool of life force tears is completely gone, leaving just a single puddle. Now fully powered, he stands up rocking his spirit wolf as a shoulder accessory, apologizing for drinking their ancestral life savings. Amazingly, the chief is cool with it, saying it was fated and just asks him to look out for his clan. With his final breath, the chief entrusts the future of his entire race to Red Cape. Red Cape gives a solemn promise to protect them, saying his goodbyes as the chief finally passes on. Meanwhile, outside the vault, Cake is just standing there looking totally unimpressed with the resistance. He addresses the remaining crew, complimenting their durability before promising to turn them all into powder. Then he puts on some shades, promising a quick and painless death. What a considerate psycho. Just as Cake's gloating, a volley of glowing blue projectiles suddenly rains down from the sky. This catches the psycho completely off guard, forcing him to dodge the surprise attack. He is absolutely furious, demanding to know who dares to interrupt his grand finale. This barrage forces him to scramble across the ground, a nice change from his usual swagger. Getting to his feet, he looks around, trying to pinpoint where the assault came from. And then it hits him, he is asking if those were just water droplets. Yep, he just got totally owned by a bunch of superpowered H2O, how embarrassing. From the vault entrance above, Red Cape makes his grand appearance, descending like a hero. His allies are absolutely floored, wondering how in the world he got this strong so fast. Our boy just strolls forward, apologizing for being late to the party. This turtle ally starts weeping, saying he can feel the power of his fallen chief inside Red Cape. With a confident smile, Red Cape confirms the chief entrusted him with the clan's future. Cake just finds this whole thing hilarious, getting totally hyped for a real challenge. He then summons his pet, a creepy-looking iron snake, to join the fun, which immediately transforms into a massive, jagged chainsaw sword because why not? This has the Rat King freaking out since his plague should have neutralized Cake for good. But the chainsaw snake explains that while its organs were infected, its body is pure iron. It just shed all the infected parts and fused with Cake to keep on fighting. Now fully armed, Cake challenges our boy to a proper round 2, looking way too happy about this. And Red Cape is more than ready, eager to see what a saint can really do. Red Cape immediately puts his new powers to the test, summoning a massive water dragon. With a roar, the watery beast lunges forward, ready to turn Cake into a puddle. Cake tries to block it with his chainsaw sword, which seems like a terrible idea against a tidal wave, and the impact sends him flying backward, getting absolutely blasted by the attack. He lands on the ground and calls it a cheap trick, totally unimpressed by his near-drowning experience. But our boy just smirks, telling him that was just a little warm-up for the real show. He then launches a whip made of pure water, aiming to smack the sunglasses right off Cake's face. Cake just barely dodges the attack, showing off some seriously impressive agility. Red Cape grits his teeth, annoyed that the saint managed to slip away from that one. With a smug grin, Cake taunts him, saying he can tell our boy is struggling to control all that new power. Then he revs up his chainsaw, announcing that it is finally his turn to attack. But he stops dead, noticing the water droplets from the previous attacks are just floating there. He is completely surrounded by them, trying to figure out what kind of trap this is. From a distance, Red Cape confirms that his plan was a total success. Cake starts sweating, realizing he walked right into this mess during the first attack. Our boy explains the turtle power is not just for making waves, it turns water into deadly weapons. These little water beads are now stuck to Cake, slowly draining his stamina, a real power leech. Red Cape declares victory, saying Cake's arrogance was his downfall. Absolutely furious, Cake orders his iron snake to go swallow the kid whole. In a flash, the snake coils around Red Cape, trapping him completely. Just as the snake closes in, Red Cape's allies scream his name, thinking he is about to be crushed. But a new guy appears out of nowhere, grabbing the iron beast by the throat with one hand. With a casual flick, he sends the massive snake flying into the wall like it is a garden hose. Red Cape is left kneeling in the dust, wondering if he was just saved by some random passerby. His mysterious savior just lets out a massive yawn, completely unimpressed with the whole situation. Then he stretches, complaining about what a nice nap he just had. Priorities, my dude, priorities. This has the Rat King absolutely losing it, yelling at him for waking up now when they were all about to die. Now perched on his shoulder, the rat explains he woke up to a snake bullying their new guy and had to intervene. Cake is stunned, his wounds are healed, but the newcomer just claims a good nap fixes everything. An explanation so absurd it leaves Red Cape and the others completely speechless. Finally getting serious, the sleepy powerhouse demands to know what Cake's grand plan is. Cake tells him to come closer, saying he has got a little secret to share now that he is here. This guy gets right in his face, still whining about how tired he is and wanting to go back to bed. Suddenly, Cake's body erupts in dark, swirling energy, catching the sleepy dude off guard. Now fully engulfed, Cake screams that he is about to reveal their leader's master plan. He then looks over his shoulder, spotting a woman with long white hair approaching from the distance. It is their leader, looking serene and powerful as Cake calls out to her. This scene then flashes back to a young, grimy Cake throwing a bottle in a trash-filled alley. His face lights up when he finds a discarded piece of bread, a treasure in the garbage. And he celebrates his find, about to take a bite, a world away from the monster he'd become. This little guy is so hungry he is crying while stuffing his face with a crust of bread. But then a young blonde girl spots him from across the junkyard, looking way too interested. Without a second of hesitation, she just sprints right at him, not exactly a friendly greeting. She tackles him hard, knocking the precious bread right out of his mouth. Then she just starts wailing on him, which is a pretty extreme way to introduce yourself. Standing over his dazed body, she yells for him to wake up. She keeps shaking him, trying to snap him out of, well, whatever this is, and he is completely terrified, asking if she is some kind of demon, a fair question, honestly. This white-haired leader appears, complimenting Cake on his potential for surviving a beatdown. She introduces herself as Lu Jin, the king of this dump, and claims Cake as her new subordinate. Cake is having none of it, yelling that a blind girl cannot be a king and refusing to bow down. But Lu Jin clarifies she's not blind, she just chooses to keep her eyes closed to this filthy world. From her trash pile throne, she asks if they are really content living in garbage forever. Cake explains the nobles kicked them out, and she asks if it was because they were poor. Or was it because they were weak, a question that really makes him think. She preaches that if power and money were not the only rules, the world would be a better place. Right on cue, some armored guards show up, telling the filth to get lost for their master. These two give them 10 seconds to clear out before they get turned into shish kebabs. Lu Jin just smirks, calling the guards a bunch of self-important morons. With a confident look, she turns to face them, clearly ready to throw down. This first guard charges forward with his spear, calling Lu Jin a little brat who is asking to die. One of the other kids screams for her to run, absolutely terrified for her life. But Lu Jin just casually steps in, deflecting the spear with a single, glowing slash. This guard is completely shocked as his attack is stopped cold by a little girl. And in the next instant, his head goes flying as he screams about her being a monster. Lu Jin just calmly starts counting as the second guard wisely decides to book it. She hits 3, and a hole just explodes right through the fleeing guard's chest. Young Cake and the others are just stunned, trying to process what they just saw. This blonde girl, meanwhile, is completely starstruck, gushing about how cool their leader is. With her point made, Lu Jin offers to lead them all to a new world free of rules. This flashback ends and Cake vows to clear any obstacle for the world she envisions. And his brilliant plan for that is to turn his entire body into a massive glowing bomb. This sleepy powerhouse is losing his mind, realizing Cake is self-destructing and calling his whole crew insane. He immediately tells his allies to get behind him, ready to tank the entire blast alone. Cake's body erupts into a blinding sun, about to unleash all his saint-level power. With a massive swing of his axe, the sleepy guy braces for the full force of the explosion. This detonation is absolutely colossal, engulfing the entire cavern in a wave of destruction. When the smoke finally begins to clear, the battlefield is just a smoldering ruin. This ground itself is completely shattered, showing the sheer power of Cake's final attack. His winged ally is in total awe, realizing he just blocked a saint's suicide bomb with his weapon. His allies are just speechless, commenting on the insane power gap between saints, but the sleepy powerhouse is already on one knee, complaining that he just woke up and is tired again. Red Cape offers to take him back to the Illusionist Association to recover. This guy immediately refuses, saying he cannot talk about what happened in Inquater City. He adds that the association knows the city is safe and he has got other business to handle. As a parting gift, he tells them to check out West Beggar Island for some lingering trouble. And with a quick goodbye, he just bounces, leaving the crew completely confused. This Rat King is totally bewildered, wondering why the guy bolts every time Inquater City comes up. Red Cape figures something major must have happened there that they are not supposed to know about. His winged ally agrees, suggesting they stick to their original mission and head to the island. Right on cue, the turtle ally pops up, saying the escape route he prepped leads right there. This whole team just stares at him, asking if this tiny turtle is seriously their entrance. He proudly presents the path, the mouth of a giant stone turtle, a family secret apparently. Unsurprisingly, they all refuse to enter a giant turtle's mouth, opting to travel by sea instead. This has the turtle totally confused, asking what they could possibly mean by that. Red Cape suddenly gets a very bad feeling about this whole situation. Just as the winged woman says she knew it was a trap, a vortex erupts from the stone mouth. It immediately starts sucking them in, with Red Cape and the Rat King screaming their heads off. This turtle just waves cheerfully, wishing them a safe and speedy trip to the island. Now caught in the vortex, the winged ally screams that she is absolutely going to murder that turtle. Meanwhile, on West Beggar Island, some local guards are enjoying a nice, quiet patrol by the sea. Their peaceful stroll is interrupted when the ocean suddenly rises up to meet them, not on the itinerary. One of them immediately assumes it is an underwater volcano, which is a totally normal conclusion to jump to. Then a massive geyser erupts from the sea and they wonder if they heard a scream on the wind. From above, our boys look down on the guards, who are now officially having a very weird day. This guards finally confirm they heard asterisk something, looking around for the source of the disturbance. And right on cue, two big splashes hit the water right in front of them. Red Cape and the Rat King surface, with the rat complaining about their 1-hour soak in the turtle's express lane. Our boy vows to never again use a travel method that involves being spat out of a rock. They are immediately surrounded by the guards, who demand to know who they are and what they are doing here. Red Cape tries the "all we are just tourists" excuse, an explanation so bad it is almost impressive. This guards immediately call BS, pointing out the island is sealed off and not exactly a vacation hotspot. Naturally, they jump to the conclusion that our crew must be enemy spies and order their arrest. Just then, their winged ally swoops in on a giant bird, announcing they are not asterisk spies. Her bird makes a splash landing that sends the guards flying, earning a complaint from the Rat King about her fancy ride. She explains they are from the Illusionist Association, here to investigate the island's lockdown, but the guards are skeptical, doubting that these 3 kids are the reinforcements they were promised. This gets her all fired up, but the Rat King holds her back before she starts a fight. Red Cape just smirks, amazed at how much energy his teammates have for arguing after that trip. Suddenly, a new voice says there is no need for all this as someone else steps onto the scene, and the person who steps forward is a dude with a buzz cut in a lovely yellow sundress. His guards are all bowing to him in the water, calling him General, much to our crew's shock. His soldiers immediately start yelling at Red Cape's team for disrespecting their leader, Cad. Cad just strikes a pose, commenting on how much prettier he is than the newcomers. This has the whole team screaming back in perfect unison, asking who exactly was praising him. One of the guards asks if they should bother verifying the crew's identities at all, but Cad waves it off, explaining the island has been completely cut off for a month anyway. This winged ally finds this super suspicious since the kingdom should have a way to contact them. He explains that all messengers have vanished, and only one message got out thanks to a friend named Millie. That name seems to ring a bell for Red Cape, who looks like he is trying to place it. This Rat King is freaking out, wondering why the kingdom has not sent any troops yet. Cad just cynically suggests the higher-ups probably want them all to die out here anyway. Red Cape mutters that it is probably because no one wants to be friends with someone so weird. Getting serious, Cad points out their surprise means the island is far more dangerous than they knew. So the winged ally steps up, ready to give him the full rundown of their situation. She proceeds to give General Cad a complete report on everything that has happened so far. Now perched on a giant peacock, Cad summarizes their theory about Inquater City's connection. Red Cape confirms that was the idea, but admits things are not looking that simple anymore. Cad elaborates that the island attacks only weakened after the city was saved, they never stopped. And since they have not stopped, he concludes the mastermind's true goal is still in motion. Red Cape realizes they have to find the mastermind's true objective to save the island. Right on cue, a soldier starts screaming that the monsters are attacking again. Cad, however, is the picture of calm, asking his men what is there to panic about. His soldiers immediately form a defensive line with their spears, ready for the assault. And a whole horde of goofy-looking sea monsters comes charging out of the water, not exactly terrifying. In his flowing sundress, Cad just holds up a hand, calmly telling everyone to get ready. Our boy has to admit, for all his weirdness, Cad seems surprisingly reliable in a crisis. That thought lasts about 2 seconds before Cad just turns and bolts from the fight. Red Cape is absolutely losing his mind, screaming at him for not even trying to fight back. But the general just grins, telling them to shut up and run if they want to live. So now the whole team is booking it across the water, with Red Cape demanding to know the plan. As they sprint, Cad proudly announces that escaping is his specialty, a truly inspiring leader. This Rat King points out the very obvious problem. They are fighting sea monsters on the sea asterisk. Suddenly getting serious, Cad explains their only shot is to lure the monsters onto restrictive terrain. He then pulls a ridiculous face, bragging that he has already got a plan for these low-tier beasts. This has Red Cape absolutely fuming, thinking he has never wanted to punch someone so badly. But then he spots something in the distance, a massive, high-tech-looking building. It is some kind of futuristic fortress rising straight out of the ocean, completely out of place. This structure looks like a heavily fortified base, clearly the destination for their tactical retreat, and Cad sprints toward it, joyfully yelling for his little ones because Daddy's home. Up on the fortress wall, 2 guards spot their general and yell to open the gates. Red Cape just stares, still trying to process the absolute chaos of the last 5 minutes. A massive metal drawbridge slams down into the water, creating a path for them. It forms a perfect ramp right into the base. A very dramatic, if wet, welcome Matt Kid turns back, telling them to hurry inside to the real battlefield he has prepared. Behind them, the sea monster horde is closing in fast, about to swarm the fortress. As they run up the ramp, Cad brags about his impressive fortress and Red Cape is actually stunned. This winged ally asks if all the islands are this over the top, but Cad boasts his steel walls can stop a king-level demon. He then gets all blushy, saying it took 5 years to build and her praise makes him so happy she was not praising him. She immediately calls his bluff, demanding to know why a non-military island needs a super fortress. Insulted, Cad insists he is not lying and tells her to just ask his men for confirmation. One of his soldiers proudly confirms it is all true, that the general built it himself. She cannot believe one person built all this, but the soldier insists it is fact, even if it sounds crazy. And we flash back to see what this island used to be, a completely desolate, rundown slum. A younger Cad had arrived with his peacock, carrying lumber through the impoverished streets. Back then, the locals had lost all hope, figuring they'd just fish until they died. But then the general started hauling in huge logs from the mainland, building a new home with his own hands. His hard work inspired the people, who started following him to join the construction effort. With more and more people pitching in, their lives and their town began to improve. A year later, the island was a booming trade hub, but even as they celebrated, Cad was still worried. Even passed out drunk, Cad was apparently obsessed with strengthening the island's defenses. So he went exploring in a sundress and diving helmet, eventually finding a huge iron deposit. Next thing you know, he is leading the locals in smelting their own steel for the project. This absolute unit then started hauling the massive steel blocks himself to build the walls. And that, the soldier explains, is how this dump became the fortress they see today. Our crew is just stunned, realizing this weirdo general is actually a certified badass. Back in the present, Cad tells his peacock to stop praising him. It is time to fight monsters. With a burst of energy, he launches himself off the wall to meet the horde head-on. One of the sea monsters roars, looking more confused than threatening, honestly. Cad just winds up a kick midair surrounded by crackling green power, and he delivers a picture-perfect flying kick right to the monster's stupid face. Landing smoothly, he orders his men to ignore the small ones and focus on the wall climbers. Then he unleashes another devastatingly graceful high kick, because of course he does. Red Cape starts stretching, telling his team they cannot just freeload while the general fights. So the winged ally and Rat King immediately call dibs on the east and west walls. Meanwhile, all sorts of weird creatures are already scaling the fortress, including an octopus. One of them is a demon beast lotus cat, which is just an adorable, round ball of fluff. This adorable fluff ball immediately launches itself directly at Red Cape like a furry cannonball. Turns out this large demon beast cat is in fact very large and very much in his face. Our boy just smirks, totally unfazed, ready to take on his new feline opponent. This cat monster immediately splits into two, striking a bizarre synchronized fighting pose. Red Cape just laughs, telling the fluffy demon he knows it is tough and to bring it on. On the rooftop, the creature stares him down, looking surprisingly small from a distance. He charges up the wall after it, but suddenly realizes the creature has vanished completely. And of course, it teleports right behind him with a demonic look on its adorable face. This beast lunges for a killing blow, swiping at him with its claws fully extended. But our boy just grabs it by the face, scolding the kitty for its cheap sneak attack. He then yeets the monster away, screaming at it to just fall down already. Only for the cat to disappear into thin air again, leaving him totally baffled.